Several years ago, virtual reality seemed like it was going to be the next big thing in gaming, but generally as an entire medium, it quickly fizzled out. Likely because we all realized using it was somehow less comfortable than setting yourself on fire. Oh my god. But before we get to that, this is the first in 13 reviews, Jesus, that will cover the most popular and impressive VR games ever made. What the hell is this? So sit back, strap on, in, and let's go. SKYRIM VR is an absolute nightmare.
Oh, it's been ages since I played this. Oh, wait. Can you hear that? What is that? Oh, please. Please don't tell me. Oh my god!
When I was a boy, imperial walls and towers used to make me feel so safe.
I've been playing this game for about 15 seconds. So Bethesda in characteristic grace and glory opens its VR game, moving you perpendicular to the way you're facing without you being able to control it. If there was a Bible on things not to do in VR games, top of the list written in Nazim's blood would be moving the character player without them having any control.
Do you get to the Cloud District very often? Oh, what am I saying? Of course you don't.
I take it all back! 10 out of 10, best game! So of course they left in this absolute mind as well. No, 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 merciful God in heaven! Sorry, did I mention Bethesda gave me this game for free as a review copy? I mean, did they not watch any of my videos? I have to say I was very excited to do this video. It means I get to include a lot of really beautiful shots of nice countryside and cool areas as I talk about the game, and that catapults us directly into the point of this video. 50 seconds in and I'm already there. It's almost as if I haven't got anything else to talk about.
They're untwisted, run!
Khajiit is ready for any troublemakers.
Fallout 4 VR may be fun time shooty things game, but it's not really that pleasant to hang out in. Sometimes it does look quite nice, but the bulk of the game of blown up city is not the most inspiring of places to spend your time. Granted, it's supposed to look like shit, but that doesn't really change things. If I wanted to hang out in a crappy house, I just come round to yours for dinner. Skyrim is the total opposite of this in that every location is just so f***ing stunning. I've always had a bit of a pet peeve about the mossy areas, as the lack of landscape here reveals the game's ghastly draw distance, but beyond this, it's honestly a bit of a dream.
But can we go deeper?
I'm talking about mods.
Before we get into modding Skyrim VR, this video was sponsored by Crystal of Atlan. Crystal of Atlan is a brand new Magipunk action MMORPG launching globally on May 28th for PC, mobile, and PlayStation. And what is going on here? Crystal of Atlan really has a lot going on, and as an MMORPG, it has 11 classes, more than 20 skill combos per class, aerial combat, PvP, co-op dungeons. It has gameplay up the wazoo. I said it. In combat, every combo leads into different outcomes. It's so fluid, in fact, that you can feel like you've mastered it pretty quickly. As well as this, the game focuses on using the Z-axis. Z! So the game is largely aerial, which makes it unique compared to most other MMORPGs. And if you pre-register now, you can unlock milestone rewards, like exclusive outfits, just by signing up before June 15th. Plus, there's also a summon event where you can win real-world prizes, like an iPhone, a PS5 Pro, and more. Crystal of Atlan is dropping on May 28th, so to take on bosses with your fleet or just play the game solo, pre-register for Crystal of Atlan now. Sign up to claim exclusive rewards and unlock early access. The link is in the description. Now, what did I say about Skyrim mods?
Look, modding Skyrim is like redecorating your house. You could get new windows put in, or you could replace every brick with the same brick that has slightly higher texture resolutions and parallax effects until the furniture won't render.
Who do I call to help with something like this?
Whilst of course giving everything else tits.
Hey!
So I mean, you could add more grass to the game, or even give the Khajiits.
Hey Sid, I got you that new milk that you like. What is happening in here?
But in the long run, slightly improved graphics at the cost of a lower frame rate are not going to make the game any more fun. However, there are some mods that do substantially improve Skyrim VR, and I almost consider it not worth playing without them. So I feel we should get you to where I am before we actually review the game. Honestly, the characters in Fallout 4 and Skyrim look like Bethesda hired Leatherface to design their skins. I mean, look at this guy. Oh, that's better. I mean, this mod takes 5 seconds to install, has little to no impact on performance, and I honestly consider the game practically worthless without it. Why is it up to me to fix this? It's 2018 and I didn't pay $60 to do this myself.
I mean, I didn't pay anything because I got the game for free. Fuck!
These two change the entire game. They add light sources and more detailed shadows to the game, so may affect performance, but this time it's worth it. Just look how much better the game looks with them. And what it means is, in many areas you have to carry a torch, because contrary to Bethesda's view of the world, you can't see at night. Using these mods then coming back to the game without them is so weird, because you find dungeons that have laid untouched for centuries, but they're as bright as a Will Smith movie. So this mod forces you to trade off between being able to see or being able to fight with both hands. It adds variety to the game that makes sense in the context of the world, and as a result makes the game so much more immersive, it's honestly unbelievable. Exploring dungeons becomes precarious. Anything could be around any corner, ready to jump out and surprise you.
Assorted books.
It meant that finding the candlelight spell in a dungeon somewhere became a substantial and exciting event. Making a game more challenging and immersive is what makes general exploration more exciting. And that's the bulk of this game. So it's a shame I had to fix it myself, isn't it? I tell you, installing the static mesh improvement mod that specifically asks you what version of the game you're playing is like appearing on an episode of Jeopardy! Skyrim Special Edition, Legendary Edition, Plain Edition, Switch Edition, Watch Edition, the Audition Edition, Cheesecake Edition, but it works. It literally works a treat. This mod changes so much within the game world, and it makes all the difference to giving the game a more modern feel. And it runs as smooth as butter. Now this leads me to the conclusion that, come here, closer, no closer. And But Bethesda didn't actually change much of anything about this game. I mean, obviously they added interactive menus and of course the 3D weapon support. I'm so immersed. But I've managed to get Zelda the Wind Waker working in VR, which was originally made over a decade ago for the Cube game, and that worked perfectly fine.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God.
In a game where you are in the game, where the sounds come from, where the sounds come from is exceptionally important. This mod fixes all of the sound issues within Skyrim, has no effect on performance, takes less than 2 seconds to download, and allows the game to compete with other similar modern games. What the f*** are these people doing? To give you an example of how well this mod works, earlier I was in a dungeon and then suddenly I heard a rumbling directly behind me, moving closer. I dived to the side as a stream of boulders rolled past me. I knew they were coming and I knew exactly where they were. Here is the same event without the mod. Wait, what the f*** is that noise? Ow! I played games ever since I could use a keyboard, and from a very young age, due to what can only be described as very poor parenting, somehow got my hands on PC copies of Dungeon Keeper, Legacy of Kain Blood Omen,
rupturing organs till the pressure inside bursts the sack of fleshy skin, spraying it,
and Abe's Odyssey.
People say the level of violence on video games,
which generally reveals how I matured to be such a well-rounded person. You. I am God! You see, when you're very young, you have this innate ability to put yourself into a video game and experience it at a very personal level. I really don't think I should be here. And as you get older, you tend to lose this a little, and it kind of gets more difficult to experience games in the same way. Most VR games are really immersive, but none have managed to properly capture this sense of wonder you get from being part of a vast, expanding world you can get lost in. Skyrim so closely emulates the style of these older games that I loved, and I have found playing it in VR immediately gives me that sense of wonder and excitement of being lost in a fantasy world. It makes me feel like a kid again, and it's glorious. There is a really fun VR game called Waltz of the Wizard with a similar aesthetic, but when I tried to travel outside, I was greeted with a medieval recreation of Event Horizon. F*** off! If you use the mods I suggested, I would say that Skyrim is probably the most beautiful video game ever made. Look, I know The Witcher 3 has better gameplay, story, characters, lore, DLC, immersion, writing, AI, performance, endgame, leveling, cities, dungeons, enemies, weapons, and so on. But I think Skyrim has better visual design and fall damage. On paper, The Witcher 3 looks much better than Skyrim. This was such a waste of ink. But I find The Witcher 3's general style too clean, too close to reality for it to evoke a proper sense of wonder. It's the greatest game ever made, that's for sure. But that's... Look, fine, take a look at this and make up your own damn minds. point of all that was to show you that Skyrim has much more of a fantasy feel, even though the graphics of The Witcher 3 are technically better. But the thing is, The Witcher 3 is so much like real life, and if I wanted to experience real life, I would just go outside. So my friend Sam, he has a Vive and has never actually played Skyrim. I can only imagine what torturous experiments Todd Howard would perform to determine how this demographic of hasn't played Skyrim actually still exists today.
Makes him a little less sexy now.
So it occurs to me that he has the golden ticket. Finally, a huge new VR game to play based on a game that was originally really good. Because the original Skyrim's a good game, isn't it? I mean, it has to be. It has skeletons in it.
Spooky, scary skeletons send shivers down your spine.
But even without all that, it's still a good game. I mean, yeah, it had giant cats in it too. Coochie coochie coo. Look, I'm finally gaining followers. I can't say this game isn't great. I'll be casting them to the wind like so many cartridges of Skyrim for the f***ing Switch. Look, to put it simply, Skyrim has many of the problems Fallout 4 has, in that there are many locations that have very little notable story aspects to them, and the game world is filled with so many two-dimensional characters and stories that don't go anywhere substantial.
I have no idea. I don't know. That's very odd. I have no idea what to do. Why, that doesn't make any sense at all. Now what's going on? Well, I shall be here for advice, should you need me.
It's like reading Game of Thrones, but instead it's written by J.K. Rowling. Oh shit! As a result, it's more difficult to fully soak yourself in the brilliant visual and audible aesthetic of the game, because there is this slight disconnect between us and the characters we meet. But that's why we love this game, because at times it's so impersonal, so straightforward. It ends up being so chill to the point you're gonna fall into a f***ing coma. Look, sometimes when you finish work, you just want to switch off, not think. You want to get lost in an uncomplicated universe. New Vegas is the basic opposite of Skyrim for being so deep, dropping you into a story of blurred morality where you explore the intricacies of the darkness of the human soul through the medium of relatable character dramas. And yes, Skyrim doesn't even come close to that. But we do get something else, something not quite as exciting, but still something beautiful. It's more shallow, but to swim in the fountain of life, the water must first go up to your knees. The bottom line I'm trying to make here is that Skyrim itself isn't perfect, nor is it as engaging or complex as it could be for what it is. But the original appeal I found in it for being a game you could relax and explore dungeons and enjoy the sights of this beautiful game world are only amplified and improved by it being in VR. And honestly, I can't stop playing it.
I'm hungry.
Okay, the video is getting a bit long, so we're going to do a quick fire round reviewing the more relevant VR aspects of the game. Go! VR games eat processing power like they're Mars bars. Yet Skyrim VR runs like liquid gold, but so it f***ing should. My 5-year-old laptop plays this game, my calculator gets me to Whiterun, and I'm sure if I inserted the game disc into a cheesecake, it would at least boot the loading screen. So we'll put that in there. And so it's in, and we'll wait for it. Yep. Skyrim. The sword fighting only uses basic collision detection, so melee combat has all the complexity of a wooden spoon. It's just the wave arms till the object falls down style of combat, and unlike Fallout 4, you can't remove limbs, so it's rendered entirely useless. And using swords when the infinite power of the universe is available to you is like riding your bike across London when you have a teleporter, the basic power of flight, and 3 helicopters. The magic is utterly sublime, and you can now even kill enemies either side of you at the same time, because you can move your hands independently from each other, and it's the f***ing best! Yeah. The horse riding is a piece of absolute fried gold. Go gadget horse! When using bows, you can't use your right hand to alter the direction in which you fire arrows in the most baffling design choice of the decade, as all other VR games allow you to do this. But honestly, you do eventually get used to this and it works really well. And the rate in which you fire is entirely up to how fast you can move your arms. So you very quickly start to feel like Legolas with a sick fascination of getting as close as possible to your downed enemies so you can see the arrow enter their fat face, and I'm totally not a dangerous person.
I'll shoot your f***ing ankles off!
The weirdest part of the whole game is walking through a room being damaged by every inanimate object you bump into and hearing yourself scream in anguish. Walk into some bones. Walk into a corpse. And when I bump into a cauldron, the universe ends around me. Why does this keep happening? Seriously, put a cauldron on someone's head and it's the funniest goddamn part of the game. Put it on your own head though. You think they would have playtested this and made your character immune to cauldrons, but I guess that would have ruined the ending battle where 100 Nords face off against 3,000 cauldrons.
Get ready, man!
Leveling up is like threading a cat through a chimney.
It's time.
Leveling up in the original game was hard enough because the cursor would just select whatever perk it felt like, but here, me, using a touchpad to swipe between the choices of 60 degrees and 80 degrees simply is not going to work and is no way to live. Please kill me. Picking up objects in the world works as great as usual. You can pick up most things and even wave around these web-covered corpses. The bottom line here is that porting Skyrim into VR has improved it quite substantially overall, in most ways. If this game came out now for the first time and it was in VR with the lighting, skin and sound mods included, I would probably be extremely happy. As I've said, graphically it's aged really well. The biggest problem with it is that we've all played Skyrim so much already. I have a master's degree in chemistry, but I still know my way around the College of Winterhold better than any NMR spectrogram. A way around this is to approach the game as differently as possible to any previous playthroughs of the game. I decided my character hates Nords, so is evil in most situations. Has a family in Folkreath, so I went there first. I can't say those words together. Has a family in Folkreath, so I went there first, and had heard that I could become a better assassin / thief in Solitude, so I was working towards getting there. I chose this because I'm yet to be evil in a playthrough, and I never saw these locations first time round, partly because my game kept crashing whenever I went near Solitude for some reason. I mean, this game is huge. There's loads I haven't even touched, but I can still actually have quite a good time and see plenty that I haven't seen before. Hey Sid, I got you that new milk that you like. What is happening in here? You worked it out! You worked it out! I love my home. I love my home. I love my home. Budget cuts is an absolute nightmare. Okay, so this elevator is taped off, but I'm pretty sure I need to get through here. Okay, here we go. I knew I'd find something like this. And so I just push it straight through here. Oh, for f***'s sake! There are two types of VR games. One's where you put the headset on and it takes a little time for you to believe you're actually in the game world. This will be your Skyrim, Fallout, and Elite Dangerous. These games weren't built from the ground up for VR, so the porting of the graphics is still a little unconvincing. What the fuck? However, after 15 minutes or so when you take the headset off, you still think you've been dropped into another dimension. Where the f*** am I? Oh no, this is my house. And then there are the games where after 7 seconds, you immediately start trying to put the controllers down on tables that only exist within the game. What is this sorcery? This will be your Gorn, Beat Saber, and Budget Cuts. Budget Cuts is a stealth game in VR so convincing it takes me back to when I worked in an office for 3 years. Oh, report me to HR, will you, Karen? Well, I'll report you to f***ing death. No, I can do better than that. Get up, Karen. Get up! Seriously though, I hated that job so much I start to get veritable flashbacks to Nam. I said 1 photocopy, not 2! The horror. Honestly, the opening of this game is a near perfect VR remake of that opening scene in The Matrix.
Hello, Neo. Do you know who this is?
Mum? Is that you? Stop calling me here! Anyway, the goal of this game is to escape an office block by being really stealthy.
Ah, human. You need help from Khajiit?
But Sid, you don't have any thumbs.
A low blow, human.
Seriously though, I love stealth games, so this one was right up my alley. I'm the guy that spent 1,000 hours trial and erroring all of Hitman 2 to complete it without firing a single f***ing bullet because I downloaded a walkthrough designed for completing the game entirely without guns, as apparently I can't read. So on the f***ing sniper missions, I would just literally run into a crowded room with an axe to murder the target, hoping no one was looking my way, as I thought this was the only way to get the perfect rank, which it isn't, by the way, and I'm dead f***ing serious. This walkthrough took months of my life. Saying that, I hear Hitman 2 is coming out. This game already f***ing exists! Is this normal? Have we all become so caught in the current of the information data stream we can't even look behind us for 10 seconds? After the destruction of Earth, aliens are gonna rediscover GameSpot cremated in volcanic ash and be like, there's nothing here, sir, but God of War 3 War of God Edition. And every single copy is an entirely different game. No wonder they all destroyed themselves fighting for oil reserves, but let's not get political, Marjorie. So to escape the office, we've been given a portal gun patent pending. To use this, you shoot the gun where you want to go and enter a portal, and then you will appear where you fired the gun. It works not unlike the gun in that Portal game you've probably not heard of, except now you can observe a 360-degree view of the area you're about to teleport into, and honestly, it's so well done, it's a little arousing. I don't know what you want from me here. I've heard mixed opinions of this gun from morons, but it's about the most fun and appropriate game mechanic I've ever come across. Arousing. There is a term people use when making stuff called forced creativity. The idea behind this is that the more constraints you have in place, the more creative it allows you to be. This is why I write my scripts in the bath. N64 game cartridges, for example, have so little memory, developers had to be super creative to fit everything they wanted to in there. As a result, the music and sound effects in games like Banjo-Kazooie in many situations are actually just the same sounds you've heard before, but sped up or slowed down to save space. This constraint ultimately ended up improving the whole game as it gave it a much more interesting and cohesive soundtrack, because it was all just the same shit. Similarly, 1,000,000 years ago, God created humans in his own image. God also apparently had a vestibular system in his inner ear which made him motion sick if he spun around too fast or sat on a boat and thought, f it, they can have that too. Clearly God wasn't an engineer. He then created VR, which we all tried and subsequently threw up.
It's the circle of...
What I'm trying to say here is walking around in VR games like Skyrim makes most people feel like they're about to turn inside out. This forced the developers of budget cuts to build a new method of locomotion that's not really ever been used before. And what they've done is not only new, but undoubtedly ingenious. Just moving around in budget cuts has become a game mechanic in its own right, but wrapped up with it is another brilliant f***ing mechanic. The portals you fire act like a mirror you can use to look around a corner. If you want to know what's over there, for example, you can just fire and take a quick look. Oh, fuck! So you can plan each move you take carefully and never make a mistake. Oh, f*** it. In the second level, you actually find a bucket, and I was a little dubious over the whole Skyrim cauldron fiasco. But I risked my life and I went for it. Okay. Here we go. You can put buckets on your head. It's the game we've all been waiting for. It's the perfect game. The Messiah is here. You can put buckets on your head. It's the game we've been waiting for.
10.
God is my witness. Hitman 2. No, not that one, this one. What are you doing, IO? More like, oh, I can't name a game properly. Wait a minute, IO. I've heard that before. IO. They made the first Hitman 2, so the same people are making a completely different game, but they're just giving it the same f***ing name. Tune in next week when I release Skyrim VR is a nightmare, but I just try again and see what happens. Now, I know we can run Skyrim on anything, but do you think it would run on a jelly? So we'll put that in there. And so it's in. And we'll wait for it. Yep. Oh, fuck! So Hitman 2, the real one, this one, not that one, bar a few god-awful levels, is basically the perfect stealth game. The main thing it did right was allowing you to complete the levels using a dizzying number of options. The first level, you could shoot everyone, sneak in as a postman with no weapons, sneak in as a delivery boy with weapons in the trays you're bringing in, kill the guard outside that's using his finger as a penis, which always absolutely killed me as a kid, and sneak in dressed as him with all your weapons, or my personal favourite, sneak in without a disguise so you watch every single guard till you memorise their exact patrol route so you can sneak past them and make your way to the target that's on the top floor room, strangle them, then sneak out by doing the same thing again without being seen a single time like the ghost that you are. Or, you know, just snipe the target as he plays golf because you're not a f***ing idiot. Budget Cuts is a far more stripped down stealth game in which your choices are to sneak through the level without being seen, or kill every robot of lawsuit similarity to the taller robot in Portal 2. I don't know what it is about these guys, but they scare the life out of me. Maybe it's because I'm worried someone is going to get sued, but it's not like Valve have a patent on tall, one-eyed, long-limbed robots. Oh no. No, wait, it's because they look like those Hydro Razor people. My god, no wonder I'm scared. It's Mr. Five Knives for a face, except now they've got handguns too. Emma, have you seen my razor? Oh god, Emma, get out of the house, run! So you can be sneaky or be offensive by utilizing the throwing knives, and bullseye I ain't. Here. Using the throwing weapons is so fun, and honestly, you need to play through the game twice because my first playthrough was an absolute show of zero stealth and maximum kill. Was I meant to sneak through here?
Your knowledge of stealth insults me, human. Khajiit grows tired of being your friend.
Said I bought you these.
All is forgiven, human.
The animations when the robots die are heart-stoppingly convincing. But also oddly satisfying, so I just end up killing everyone I come across. Oh, for God's sake, I did it again! You can also reduce the speed in which you move through portals. This actually makes you make less noise and you don't activate the guards. And this, combined with being able to look carefully into every space you enter, gives the gameplay just enough complexity that it starts to make you feel a little Hitman 2-y. Oh, As I crouch in an air vent, portal gun in one hand, knife in the other, primed ready to throw into the face of an unknowing enemy below who could spot me at any moment. I've got you now. I just think, my god, this would be perfect if I wasn't tangled in 2 meters of cable with a f***ing flight recorder taped to my face. I've got you now. Every single physical movement you make in the real world is mirrored within the game. Ducking, crawling, leaning out, shooting, walking, picking things up, using items, selecting items from the menus. There is no action you do that hasn't been translated to do the exact same thing within the game. It helps that there's no duck button. It's all down to you. But after an hour of keeping low in cubicles by doing this, while wearing the Vive, you start to feel like your knees are about to snap off. I said your knees are about to snap off. I said your knees are about to snap. Ugh, wait a minute. I said your knees are about to snap off. The technology is now becoming the rate limiting step in this experiment. Game! The wires and the weight of the Vive ground you in reality. But short of me inventing a time machine, I've done it! Matt, that's a xylophone. That's a basil plant. I don't know what that is. It's all a bit of a mute point, isn't it? The first time I played, I found myself crawling on my hands and knees along the ground to escape being seen and went straight first into the sofa. Ow! And as I kneeled there and cowered in fear, I slowly looked up to see a sign saying hang in there, like a big middle finger from the developers who somehow knew I triggered every single enemy in the level. Basically, the way in which you move around and interact with the game world has been perfected to a T in budget cuts. It's the best and most polished part of the game by far. In Skyrim and Fallout 4, the menus work, but it's not exactly elegant. It's all just a huge load of lists, and who doesn't love lists? In budget cuts, using the menus has almost become a game mechanic within itself. You bring up your inventory, and you yourself select what you want. But you can even choose the orientation in which you want to hold the object based on where you grab it. The throwing knives are also loads of fun and naturally take a fair bit of skill to master. I finally did it. That wasn't really where I wanted to hit him, but I did it. So having a large number of knives doesn't exactly make you overpowered, especially if you're prone to getting a little panicked. Oh god! Crack, 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 crack. Once you get used to these guys, they then also introduce flying drones that fly over and take pictures of you that activate the guards. The bastards! But I know a way to take care of these fuckers. So we stand here behind this wall and shh, wait for it. They fly in and... I got you, you fucking bitch! Die! 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 I got you, you f***ing bitch. My eyes! I'll shoot your f***ing ankles off. Damn you, son. Basically, everything about the way you play and interact with the game has ingenuity. It's progressive, it's fun, and it's extremely immersive. However, there is one major issue. The problem with the portal mechanic is that you don't exactly get a full picture of the space you're in. You're just teleported from point to point, so don't get much perspective on what is between these points. Now this of course isn't really an issue on its own, but much of the game world you may have noticed is visually very similar. This may be down to the fact that making large complicated rooms in VR is currently more computationally demanding than even Colonel Sanders over here could keep up with. So we gotta keep things simple. But there's not enough visual variance for you to remember whether or not you've been somewhere. Oh my eyes! I mean, where the f am I supposed to go? This all looks the same and there's no map. I mean, there's this map, but excuse me, what? I'm pretty sure a map of the human circulatory system is less complex than this. The lungs, you say? Just take a left through the right ventricle. You can't miss it. The final level, and this message they give you on Steam certainly is relevant when you get there, I think is meant to be a little bit complex. So we need to learn the layout. But the level is entirely in the dark and there are so few visual clues. Every part of the level looks exactly the same. And eventually after learning the layout, the lights come on and the whole level looks completely different again, while still, of course, all looking the same. And most of the level doesn't actually go anywhere. Seriously, you can feel like you're making progress. So we go up here, go down into here, then through here, go through here, open this up, go down into there, go through here, and you're back where you started. And that room has 3 access points, but also a separate access point hidden away in the corner that, let's just say, is very important you don't miss. At one point I knew I had to get into this locked room, but I couldn't find a key or a separate way in. So I'm just gonna, let me just get in. There, are you happy, game? After breaking into this room, I also retroactively found the proper way in was to find an entrance in an air vent by going up there. There! That isn't puzzle design, that's look in every corner till you spot it design. What is this, Portal 2? Don't kill me, Portal 2's fine. There are also a lot of items lying around in the game with no use, which can confuse things as the levels mainly require you to look around and find unspecified things. So if you aren't entirely sure what you're looking for, you have a lot of useless things to look through. Like this arm. I bet this arm does absolutely nothing within the game world. Look, let me show you. Die! Oh god. Oh, I'm sorry. What do I do? I better finish it off? I'm sorry! This review can basically be summed up by saying that Budget Cut's mechanics are absolutely amazing. The teleportation, the menus, the immersion, the weapons, the way enemies react, the 3D rendering, and I think this explains why the game kept being delayed. It was so they could get all of this just perfect. Not like the launch of Fallout 4 VR. I'm sorry, sir, but the graphics and menu systems just aren't ready for a public release yet. We need more time to finalize. We shipped the game yesterday! But outside of this, Budget Cut's level design and lack of complex gameplay are what is holding it back. The game is fun to play, but the levels are not nearly as fun to interact with. It's worth it, and I'm not just saying that because I got the game for free again. I mean, why are people doing this? Do you not watch the videos? I'm clearly an arsehole. It's just certainly not perfect. It feels like the game is a little one-dimensional, and that's a weird thing to say about a VR game. Beyond making it to the end, there isn't much more to it. Most stealth games usually have challenges or ranks you can get based on how you performed in the level. I think adding specific challenges like get through the level without being seen, or never use weapons, or your behavior is analogous to that of a serial killer. Who could have done this? With corresponding unlockables would easily breathe new life into the game, encouraging multiple playthroughs. In Hitman 2, for example, being perfectly stealthy unlocks you a few new weapons that made you overpowered as f. Look at him go! Also, the ending credits have the most ridiculous f***ing song I've ever heard and could easily be in the opening of a James Bond movie. Enjoy.
We're here to shape your future. We've got a 5-step plan.
No, I can do better than that. Get up, Karen. Get up! Well, I can report you to the Department of Obituaries. Bleed more! While wearing the Vive, you start to feel like your knees are about to snap off.
Khajiit does not have this problem, as he has no knees.
I don't think that's true, Sid. Look, they're here.
I cannot read human.
Okay, I'm gonna open the box. Oh my god! What's in the box? So believe it or not, you can't buy an entire mannequin leg online on its own. You have to buy the entire mannequin because they don't sell it in individual pieces. So what am I going to do with all this? I have a face.
Wow, another great VR review. Next is Life Alyx, but first, I'm working on a Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 video right now, and I want to keep the production value as high as you're used to. So if you want to see me in a full suit of armor in a really cool medieval setting, please consider joining the Patreon to help me pay for it. Woo! Linked below. You get loads of stuff for all the tiers, of course. Like this video you're watching right now, I've posted on my Patreon, and you can watch it ad-free. And you know what that means? Yes, you can watch it uninterrupted while you sleep. The Patreon version also has Gorn and Blade and Sorcery, which is missing from this video because I had to remove it because of the constant sterilization of the internet meant I wasn't allowed to post it here. Patreon link below. See you later. Enjoy Life Alyx. Bye!
Life Alyx is not an absolute nightmare. Man, this game is really... Wait, is that a bucket? Surely not. Yes, I'm finally safe from the head crabs. What are you gonna do now? It's under the bucket.
We did it, boys.
I remember when I was 7 and I was reading an old copy of Nintendo Power that I found at a car boot sale. Inside was a whole section dedicated to a future release of a console called the Virtual Boy. It promised full-on immersive 3D graphics that could make you think you were actually inside the video game you were playing. Immediately I started to imagine myself in one of my favorite games like Double Dragon, fighting waves of enemies using my actual hands and seeing the streets where the game was set all around me. As I read more and more, I couldn't stop thinking about the endless possibilities. You could even play golf. Kids love golf! But getting a Virtual Boy was a different matter. I was 7. I had no marketable skills unless being a constant pain in the arse had somehow become a profitable business venture. This magical, futuristic box was completely out of my reach. Keep in mind at this time the Virtual Boy was already out. I was just reading an ancient copy of a magazine all about games that were released half my life ago and I just had no idea. Honestly though, this was the world a lot of us lived in back then. You couldn't open a copy of the Sun and find a 6-page spread on Gallagher. It was 1997, the year one of my mum's friends warned me that the internet contained actual demons. There's no punchline here, it's just a scarring event from my childhood. No one gave a shit about games, you just had to take whatever information you found and I had no money. What was I supposed to do, ask my school friends? What did they know they were 7? Soon after this they all really got into the Phantom Menace game on the PC, the bloody idiots. Plus, I, to this day, have never actually seen a Virtual Boy in person. The fact that no one I knew ever had one kind of led me to assume it was terrible. And that was the golden rule back then. We didn't have gaming critics spewing irrelevant opinions on blogs that they abandoned months later because their addiction needed a more stable income. If no one had something in the 90s, you didn't know it existed or you just assumed it was bad. And in this case, it was a fair assumption. The Virtual Boy was uncomfortable, heavy, had terrible graphics, was too expensive, had games that weren't even in the first person. Eventually though, 2012 rolled around and with it came the first generation of modern VR headsets. These new headsets were uncomfortable, heavy, had terrible graphics, they were too expensive. Overall then, the 90s left me with a bit of a grim view of VR. And as time passed, I began to forget my dream of being able to see games like Double Dragon in full immersive 3D. One day though in 2018, I went to my friend's house who had just bought something called the Vive. Do we snort it or is it a pill? I asked.
Oh, Mum's gonna love that one.
I arrived with my friends and eventually it was my turn to use. I put on the headset and played my very first VR game, Space Pirate Trainer. I will always remember that rush of excitement I felt when I realized this kind of gaming experience was now actually possible. Over 15 years after the release of the Virtual Boy, technology was finally able to deliver what Nintendo had promised. Jumped the gun a bit there, didn't you guys? It even had functional motion controls, that other thing Nintendo mercilessly teased and immensely under-delivered on. Honestly, I wonder how long Nintendo delayed virtual reality and motion controls by systematically misleading the entire gaming community like lambs to their slaughterhouse. Like promising a Mario-themed scuba event, but the tanks are actually full of hydrogen cyanide. Payment up a front! Since the release of the Vive though, virtual reality has unfortunately been on a bit of a rocky journey to say the least. Bethesda took the bull by the horns early on and poorly ported two of the largest open world games ever made into the most computationally demanding medium ever invented. As a result, Fallout 4 VR ran like a room full of people with no legs. And Skyrim VR, while fun, was so fuzzy playing it was like looking at a topographical map of New Zealand after having your corneas forcibly removed. Either way, everyone around the world bared witness to these inexplicably popular ports. Players lost $80 amongst whatever shred of respect they had left for VR being the incredible gaming revolution it is, and everyone left thoroughly unimpressed. Thanks, Bethesda. I mean, what the f is going on? Outside of Bethesda's many indiscretions, virtual reality came with a big problem that I think many people still can't overlook to this day, and that's that there are no full-length games that take advantage of what makes VR so revolutionary that are actually any good. There's a lot of fantastic games, don't get me wrong. Space Pirate Trainer is probably the most fun I've ever had playing a video game. I'm top 500 in the world. Beat Saber is incredible, Gorn is insanely good, and Jet Island is utterly wonderful. But these are all very short games and aren't varied or substantial enough to grab you by the balls and force you to choose them over sending your only child to college. People are still waiting for games with a huge, exciting world to explore, a thrilling story, engaging characters. Games like Boneworks and The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners are starting to turn up and are clearly trying to fill this gap, but they haven't quite hit the mark on being the revolutionary game VR is missing. Part of my issue with these games is that if you strip away the motion controls and the VR headset, they very quickly become quite average games. Now, this is a pretty tenuous point, of course. You could also argue that if you took the controller away, Mario Kart isn't actually that amazing either. Can confirm I'm feeling a little left out here. It's just with so many of these VR games, I feel like I'm playing a fairly average game with excellent immersion. And let's just face it, that's pretty much life on Earth, and I'm sick of it too. Dark Souls has devastating background storytelling. New Vegas has characters so real, you feel like you could reach out and touch them. And Metroid Prime has level design that would put the Sistine Chapel to shame, which I think makes sense. Truly special games need more than motion controls and immersive 3D to stand out. They take you on an adventure of discovery and give you something rare and memorable that you can take away with you. VR up to this point hasn't yet captured this level of quality that it is more than capable of.
I think I'm dying.
But then Valve turn up, I'm sure there's a pun in there somewhere, kick the door down and drop what is extensively the zenith of absolute perfection in the form of a VR game. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Alyx is the tits, and you should all find a way to get it. That's why there's a big not in the title. Let's start off by saying that I'm not actually a huge fan of Half-Life. This is a bad start, putting me in the eyes of most gamers somewhere in the lower quartile of human scum on Earth. Even lower than this guy. It's pretty low. But it does mean I can be objective and view this as an unbranded video game and not jizz my pants every time I see a lambda symbol. They were cool before you got your hands on them, Valve. They actually symbolize something. Well, still related to Half-Life, of course, but never mind. Alyx is excellent for various reasons, but for me, primarily, it finally holds the position of being a great game that has been made incredible by being in VR. If this game was ported to a non-VR medium, it would still be, granted, completely different and a lot less fun, but I still think it would be a fabulous game in its own right, which I don't think I could say about any other VR-only games. Now, there's a lot I want to say about this game, so let's start at the very beginning. In this game, you play as Alyx, who is part of a resistance group trying to fight back against the Combine, an alien race who have taken over Earth. At the beginning, your father is captured, and most of the game is spent traveling across the city you live in to try and rescue him. And that's pretty much all I'm going to reveal about the story. Let's get to the game itself. The game opens up with the world of Half-Life Alyx fading into view. A huge city sits before you, brimming with life. Helicopters soar overhead, people walk the busy streets, gigantic creatures climb over buildings entwined with wires that all lead to an ominous monolith that towers over you.
Oh, yes.
Less than an hour later, you are creeping through tunnels overgrown with alien flora. Later still, you explore beautiful tribal monuments, underground kitchens, biohazard containment areas, floating buildings. This is what the people wanted, injected into my veins! Virtual reality is the power to show you firsthand worlds beyond your imagining, seas of lava, magical islands in the middle of a beautiful blue ocean, or recently empty streets of concrete office buildings and cemeteries. You see, Valve appreciates how much more effective, unique and interesting environments become in VR, and Alyx provides it in spades. Every environment you journey through is rammed full of little touches that bring it to life. Things will retract or snap as you get close. Rooms are cluttered with objects and details you could look through for hours. The world isn't just varied, it feels alive. Except this guy, well, hopefully he's dead. Although maybe headcrabs fall out of ceilings a little bit too often. This probably wasn't worth it for a joke. The graphics in this game are also fantastic. It's honestly a little bit unbelievable how Valve has managed to make this game look so good in VR, both stylistically and how crisp and smooth it is on both the Valve and the Index and the Vive. No VR game, other than Alien Isolation perhaps, has come even close to this level of visual quality and clarity. Just look at this place. I've never simultaneously wanted to go anywhere less and more in my entire life, except maybe outside during a quarantine. I don't know, that sun is awfully bright. So sit back and relax as we take a look at the wildlife of City 17. This is the only way I can get the shots steady. When Half-Life 1 came out, it broke new grounds by basically inventing the idea of a story unfolding around you rather than directly in front of you. Important or interesting things could happen at any time, even if you were busy looking somewhere else. As a result, most of the events in the game felt like they would be happening even if you weren't there to see them. So thus comes the famous philosophical question. If a dimensional rift opens in an experimental test facility and no one is there to hear it, does it start an eternal war with a multi-dimensional empire? Everything for a price. Miss Vance. Alyx continues the trend set in Half-Life by using its environment as well as scripted animations to help tell the story over the course of the game. And like Half-Life, most of it's never shoved into your face. Hell, half of it's barely ever elaborated on. It gives the game a richness that feels effortlessly natural, when in fact it must have been a nightmare to put together. Where Alyx manages to completely break new ground is with the quality and smoothness of its character animations and cutscenes, which are nothing short of absolutely mind-blowing. I have never seen anything like these scenes before, in a video game or otherwise, and half the time when they're going on, you don't even have to look at them. You're in a room stuffed to the brim with so many other interesting details and beautiful animations that I start to feel like I might pass out from sensory overload. Trains crash around you, power lines explode, grand events are happening constantly all around you, and they're nothing short of breathtaking. And I'm not even a fan. I can only imagine what seeing a fully rendered 3D headcrab would do to Harry Half-Life over here. I'm not going to put my in it. The dialogue is on par with Valve's other games, landing it somewhere in between the works of T.S. Eliot and Hermaeus Mora. It's witty, constantly funny, and at times extremely touching. There's a conversation where Alyx asks Russell, the guy who's helping you through the game over a headset, what life on Earth was like before the Combine, and he describes to Alyx a club sandwich. And from this strange idea comes this brilliant moment of life and depth between these two characters. You can hear how much Russell misses life before the Combine, and how excited Alyx is hearing about a world without them, like your grandfather telling you what life was like during World War II. And honestly, I had found Alyx a little annoying up to this point, as she jauntily wanders off without a care in the world to take on the entire Combine, who make the Third Reich look like the Fourth Doctor. But Alyx turns out to be extremely relatable, reacting to things throughout the game in the exact same way the player does. I remember at one point turning a corner and seeing a small army of Combines strung up by barnacles, and both of us at the exact same time said, Oh man. Sure, she's overconfident, but she's taking out an army that makes a xenomorph look like a friendly partial erection. And out of everything Alyx faces, she is notably disturbed by headcrabs and zombies in particular, which gives her personality some much needed balancing. Even one of the enemies in this game, has more personality than any character you meet in the entirety of Saints and Sinners.
All your bandages, now. Are you gonna have a few?
Oh no, she's dead. And he doesn't even say anything. This guy who turns up for about 2 minutes has a hat so incredible, it gives him more character development than every single character in Boneworks combined. I will say at times I found Russell slightly too jaunty, as almost everything he says comes with a punchline which sort of covers up some of his established depth. But overall, he turns out to be far more lovable than annoying, like my wife after the second week of a lockdown. Half-Life 2 transitions between different styles of gameplay at a breakneck speed. 1 minute you're in tunnels avoiding barnacles, next you're driving vehicles across landscapes without any hands.
Oh, this isn't gonna end well.
Decapitating zombies in Blighttown with the murderous equivalent of Pope John Paul II, commanding an army of bugs with balls of your pheromones, or storming the Combine's futuristic headquarters, and I couldn't tell you where one part began and another finished. Alyx isn't quite as varied as Half-Life 2, but still has very distinct sections that focus on horror, puzzles, exploration, action, and combat, all with a pace that ramps throughout the entire game, leading to a suitably satisfying ending. However, although the gameplay is extremely varied, Alyx's real achievement is its seamless blending of action and exploration. You see, in this game you have a set of gravity gloves that you can use to pull objects towards you, which you do by flicking your wrists at the object, then catching it when it comes close. The amount of fun this mechanic is, and remains to be, throughout the entire game is one thing, but combining it with combat sections is where this game absolutely shines. During fights, enemies will usually drop grenades or precious ammo, which you can now immediately get hold of. As a result, the resources you have available to you during a fight are constantly changing. Combining this with the Combine's terrific AI leads to an incredibly dynamic combat system. There is honestly so much going on in the gunfights, I find myself instinctively dropping to the floor into cover at a moment's notice, almost forgetting I have a miniature plant pot strapped to my skull. This is made all the more effective by how well the ammo system is balanced. I never once felt like I had an excess of ammo, and never fully ran out of ammo either, so trying to grab more resources while you fight is very enticing. Saying this, I did unfortunately find the game a little easy. I was using the hardest difficulty on my first playthrough and found that the game still presents healing items in the abundance of soy at a vegan festival.
Although I will say, every time I used the healing syringes, I pretended they were real and made a fake little groan of discomfort just for fun.
Matt, what are you doing in there?
Nothing! The antlions are particularly easy enemies to fight too, because as well as being weak to pistol fire, they're slow enough to avoid most of the time, so rarely ever get to hurt you. Half-Life, more like, please half the amount of life I have, 3 well-aimed pistol shots will kill one of them, so a lot of these fights end up feeling a little anticlimactic. The hacking minigames you play when breaking into the Combine's security systems are also a little bit simplistic, but with the motion controls they still turn out to be a lot more satisfying than the inane garbage mastermind rip-off you're forced to do in Fallout, and you all allowed them to do it! Bodies!
Had fun dropping mannequins off our roof, Matt.
There is still a conception held by truly stupid people that we need bodies in VR.
Maybe I've gone a bit too far with this one.
You have a rendered body in Boneworks, and I can't even begin to imagine in my wildest dreams how difficult this must have been to program. It sidesteps, leans with you, the arms never bug out, objects never get stuck in you, everything is weighted proportionally with your arms. But is it any fun? Is it fun not being able to open doors because you get in the way, not being able to aim because your theoretical head is blocking the back of the gun, having weight so when you climb you shake about like my margarita mixer because dear God, self-isolating is giving me a drinking problem? Is it not fun not being able to hit an enemy because your own elbows are in the way? I'm warning you! I didn't find one situation in Boneworks where having a body made things even slightly more entertaining. Valve looked at this problem, called a board meeting, sat down and said, F it.
Sorry, sir, my son's at work with me today. Could you keep it clean? Your son's fired, Benny. He doesn't work here. He does now!
In Alyx, we don't have arms, and Valve has proven that we don't need them. Suck it, PC gamer! It's not just the arms, though. Almost every single challenge virtual reality presents as a gaming medium was analysed and addressed in Half-Life Alyx. Here are some examples of problems they encountered and totally overcame. Getting off ladders is slow and clumsy, auto-teleport kicks in. Dropping weapons is frustrating, weapons are only equipped from a menu. When I crouch, I can't grab my ammo. Everything you need is selected from over the shoulder. Am I supposed to go over here? Teleport tells you where you can and can't go. Objects with weight are ruining my immersion, no more weighty objects. Different movement speeds make me feel sick. The game is built around a single running speed. Jumping is disorientating. The game's linear and designed so you always drop down, but you can teleport if you need to. Reloading keeps missing, huge room for error. I think my cat is trying to kill me. Here's a safety cage. Matthew Matosis once made the analogy that if you have a controller for a game that doesn't work, say 10% of the time, then the controller simply could not be sold. But 10% of the time in The Walking Dead or Boneworks, I try and store a weapon over my shoulder and accidentally throw it across the level into some poor person's face, or try and load a clip into a gun and it completely misses. Motion control will probably never be flawless because I'm the one doing the motions and I'm far from flawless. But Valve have managed to make an interface in Alyx that is immersive but still incredibly functional. And when motion controls are used, they've clearly been rigorously tested to ensure they almost always work. But is that any surprise? Look at the number of people who made Alyx. I bet together they could successfully colonize Mars, the talented This team is bound to be at least 3 or 4 times the size of the next biggest VR development team on the planet. Virtual reality is still at the stage where huge development teams simply aren't cost effective because not enough people have VR. What's wrong with you all? You could all be playing VR, but no, you had to buy all that food for your starving family. Saying all this, I did still find I had a slight issue when changing weapons in Alyx. You see, to change weapons, you press the weapon select button, then move your arm in the direction of the weapon you want to select. Seems okay. But whenever I was flustered in the middle of a fight, I found myself trying to change weapons while I was moving in and out of cover. This meant I would accidentally select the weapon corresponding to the direction my arm was moving at that time, giving me perhaps a pistol when I in fact wanted a grenade launcher. This may have just been me being panicky, and although it wasn't a huge issue, it perfectly highlights the kind of problems motion controls can have. In Space Pirate Trainer, I get as flustered as a YouTuber after his 4th cup of coffee, yet I always manage to select the correct weapon because it's done using an analog stick, which is difficult to mess up. Perhaps in Alyx, if we were to swipe along the index's touchpad to the weapon we wanted, it would improve this issue, but I think it looks like the touchpads on the index are a little too small for this, especially since we can't see them. Speaking of controllers, I played Alyx on the Vive as well as the Index, and both play this game really well. It's just the Index has slightly better visual quality, and controllers, microphone, sound is more comfortable, works better with Steam. I was sitting with my friends last week when one of them asked me to pass them a Switch controller, and I honestly pointed at it with my hand and tried to flick it into the air towards me. Needless to say, I killed them all in a fit of rage to avoid further embarrassment. What I'm saying is Half-Life Alyx is so immersive you really can forget you're playing a video game. And it's important to note that being immersive isn't about mimicking real life perfectly. I find New Vegas immersive, and half the time the maps look like they were lifted from electron microscope readouts that have been left in the sun. Immersion is truly broken when something happens that reminds you you're playing a video game. And nothing reminds you of that more than when you try and do something in a game and it doesn't work. To avoid this, wherever possible, Valve have chosen simplicity over being realistic, and as a result have made one of the most immersive VR games ever made that sets the benchmark for what VR can achieve. My hope is that this game will prove how good virtual reality really can be, and help us get to a bigger consumer base where larger VR development teams and budgets start to become viable. This game is so good, I think it proves that screens in VR headsets don't need to get that much better right now. What we need to work towards instead is wireless VR headsets, because nothing is less immersive than having a wire trip you up when you're trying to avoid a brain-sucking parasite.
Either way, this game made me a proper Half-Life fan, and I'm off to play Black Mesa. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I hope you enjoyed the video. It's the f***ing cheesiest outro I've ever done. Because we're in quarantine, my wife cut my hair, and I think she's done an okay job. I'm just gonna check the back. Does it look okay?
Beat Saber is not an absolute nightmare.
With the blast shield down, I can't even see. How am I supposed to fight?
Your eyes can deceive you. Don't trust them.
Beautiful.
I call it luck. In my experience, there's no such thing as luck.
I think the reason the Wii Fit didn't catch on, short of the fact we were all sure it was just measuring our weight, so following Nintendo's hostile takeover, they'd know the minimum amount of food to keep us alive but still subservient. It didn't make you do any f***ing exercise. In its place, we now have Beat Saber. I mean, me, the developers at hyperbolic magnetism. I mean, this is sort of a thing. Have such a serious interest in keeping the population fit, you'd think they're somehow benefiting from it. I'm imagining in 20 years when all our risks delocate, Jesus Christ, as a result of carpal tunnel from doing this 100 times a minute, they'll be there picking up the literal pieces with their new game, Gentle Rotate.
Oh, and I can just fill that all the way down.
I'm wondering if you at home, yes, you, have noticed that I'm stalling here, killing time so this review actually lasts more than 2 minutes, because if you haven't noticed, this one is extremely straightforward. Okay, fine, Beat Saber is a rhythm game in the style of one of those dance pad games that I always felt really uncomfortable playing at arcades because people would always come and watch. I don't know you, f*** off! But now it's being specifically marketed for those who have a serious pathological hatred of boxes. I mean, boxes, what did they ever do for me except contain everything I ever loved? Don't ever leave me. So in this game, you hold 2 different colored lightsabers and hit the corresponding color of box at the correct angle. There's nothing to be said about it really, it's basically the perfect game, as will attest every human being that's ever played it.
Yeah, Beat Saber's pretty good.
I thought Skyrim was alright, actually. I can't see anything.
Now I know I can get a little overexcited about VR games. You've forgotten my birthday for the last time! But Beat Saber is, in my opinion, simply a flawless game. It's easier for it to achieve this over other games because it has attempted one very simple goal. But I mean, is that better? To do one thing perfectly rather than do lots of things really well? Mario did it and you all rave about that so much. There are numerous theories about what ultimately makes a game really good. The one that I strongly subscribe to is game feel. This is simply whether or not a game feels good to play.
Oh yeah.
The first time I ever remember experiencing this was playing Bully, or as it was called in the UK, Canis Canam Edit. Because over here our marketing teams trust us to be able to pay attention past the first word.
Okay, so we got that one down. What else? Oh, storming through this.
It worked in this game because your character felt very clunky, a little underpowered but in just the right way. So progressing in this game felt good because you felt like you were overcoming obstacles despite the game doing everything it could to stop you. Every single aspect of Beat Saber feels good. You feel absolutely unstoppable slicing through those boxes like they're made of whipped cream that have somehow been molded into box-shaped pieces.
The ultimate evil.
This is not a simple thing to pull off and is down to the design of the game. All the movements and impacts leave convincing flashes of cascading light, making the sabers feel like nothing can stop them. So the lack of physical pushback you get, which can be a problem in VR games, is totally overcome here. Surely you wouldn't feel much pushback cutting through stuff with lightsabers, and the game only acts to further convince you of that. You are so damn powerful, you feel like that Jedi from that movie everyone inexplicably hates so much. The electro-driven soundtrack also perfectly matches the game's futuristic neon visuals, so you feel completely in tune with the music. And the added sound effects every time you slice a box makes you feel like you're actually orchestrating the game's soundtrack.
I am music!
Oh no. Someone needs to talk to these people about pacing their difficulty settings. Hard mode is like walking through the park on a summer morning. While expert difficulty is like, well, Starfleet's Admiral Anthony Haftel actually saw me finish a level on expert mode and is here to summarize it for you in his own words.
His hands were moving faster than I could see. He refused to give up. It was remarkable.
I mean, Jesus Christ, we need a middle setting here, guys, like won't break your arms or actually possible. I mean, look at this. To get through this, we'd need the second coming of Christ. Disco Christ. But really, in order to review this game, I felt I needed to become at least good enough at it to complete most of the levels on expert, and at the same time, England chose to be the hottest it's been in a million years, so literally doing this bull on the hottest day of the year became far from a good time.
Damn you, son!
Really though, it's awesome having this extreme level of challenge. Each song on expert is a totally different experience to the same song on hard mode, which gives the game many more layers than you would expect. As a result of this, finishing a level on expert has all the excitement and ecstasy of finally beating the Capra demon in Dark Souls, but without all the self-hatred and overwhelming feelings of inadequacy. I hate myself. Skyrim and Elite Dangerous are really the only VR games I've come across that actually work as a full-on single-player experience. But these are just ports. I don't for 1 second believe these are even close to what can be achieved with VR as a medium. Oh, now this is the real Soon we will start to see large VR games being built from the ground up, because VR is going to change the world as we know it, and not in the way it's depicted in this abomination of poor acting and shallow character development. We just have to get to the point where buying a VR headset isn't the choice between that or getting a bungalow. Where VR has already been perfected is for playing with loads of friends. Sure, these games are loads of fun on your own. But I can have a few people over for drinks and we can take it in turns clearing rounds in Gorn or shooting robots in Space Pirates and have a simply amazing time.
Oh god!
However, Gorn and Space Pirates don't quite have the raw appeal of Beat Saber. Basically, everyone in the world with arms and legs are of the same skill in this game. It's just pure, unadulterated coordination, and there's a band name if I've ever heard one. All you gotta do is wave your arms about and you're pretty good at this game. Overall, Beat Saber is the game me and my friends always come back to, and we'll play it until our arms are about to fall off.
Oh no.
I mean, it's that off Settlers of Catan. I actually, really like Settlers of Catan. Okay, so it isn't just the game's feel that makes it work so well. Beat Saber has some extremely intelligent design, which gives it a surprising level of depth considering there are only 10 songs. What I mean by this is Beat Saber currently has 3 modes of play, each of which hones different skills to prepare you for the ways of the Jedi.
You must unlearn what you have learned.
What? Are you sure? Shut up, Artin! The first mode focuses on coordination. Ow. In this mode, both the colours of boxes generally stay on the sides that correspond to the sabers you're holding. So the main challenge here is being able to get both arms slashing in the right directions at the right times without getting confused.
What even is a cube?
Every song has also been expertly choreographed, so each movement flows into the next one like the developers have got some games, son. The second mode has no required swipe directions. All you gotta do is hit the right colour of block with the right colour of lightsaber. Easy.
It isn't easy!
Somehow I find this mode the hardest because you're only tracking colours this time, and I go away hating the colour blue more than I do those cubes. It's somehow like that challenge where you have to look at the words and say the colour of the word and not the word itself, and whoever turned up to a party with that game, you're gonna love this. Finally, my favourite setting is where you just have the one lightsaber, so the only challenge here, speed do you speak it? This is the true Jedi setting, because normally you swing like this.
Come with me.
Giving a nice, satisfying arc. And you leave yourself with the momentum to swing back in.
You know what?
In this mode, there ain't time for that You have to be very controlled and precise and give lots of short slices to leave yourself with the time you need to get to the next cube. Cubes! Because of this, you feel like you're really learning the ways of the Jedi. I get so immersed, I find myself spurting out nonsensical quotes from the prequel movies.
Where's my super suit?
A mode where you can take your favourite songs and make levels for them yourself is coming, but at the time of writing it isn't out yet. And since it takes me 17 years to make a video, I'm going to give my prospective opinions on what a level editor would mean for the final game. The only limitation to this game is the lack of songs. If a level editor were clever enough to make adding new levels into the game easy enough, then it would give the game an almost limitless appeal. I actually went to a house party last week that had Beat Saber set up in an empty part of the room. And because it's so simple and intuitive to play, everyone could get involved, and it brought so much energy and fun to the whole event. If you were to add some more well-known songs and blast them into the party through this game, well, let's just say... See, Gorn is really fun, but isn't quite as intuitive to play, and also makes the other half of the party think you're a complete psychopath.
Yeah. Can someone give me a beer, please?
My reviews aren't really to help you decide whether or not you should get these games. I mean, go ask a games journalist. No, it's all down to your personal taste. But games are expensive, so I found a way to save you a bit of money. Welcome to Beat Fallout Saber 2. You thought blue and red sabers were enough? Customize your saber with a whole range of pointless colors. Find you actually really like boxes? Well, in this game, you've got spheres instead, because, you know, spheres. And if you two are wider than what should be anatomically possible, you can enjoy the Kylo Ren saber. Oh, God. Let the games begin. Hit. Ah. What? What happened there? It's gone all the way over there and bounced off the hill. Wait. Oh my God, this is amazing. I think I've invented a new game. But what if I went too far, I tried to play God.
Hulk smash. That was less satisfying than I thought it was going to be. Ah, it's f***ing cold.
Elite Dangerous VR is an absolute nightmare. Captain, are you sure about this? I think we're going pretty close to that star. Captain, I really think you should think about turning around. Captain? Oh my God! If you've heard of Elite Dangerous, you'll probably have heard mixed things about it. But of course you've heard mixed things. Scoring this game out of 10 is like scoring your favorite protozoic organisms out of 10. No, that just isn't for me. Perfection. Scoring things out of 10 nowadays is just categorically wrong anyway. It's perfectly irrelevant. For example, I recently saw Jumanji and I loved every second of it because I could watch Dwayne Johnson balance his checkbook all afternoon and I'd be on cloud 9. I don't need a critic to tell me this film is... It's the same idea for games. Like, take Elite Dangerous. What's relevant here? What do you want from this specific game? Do you want to experience space travel? To learn what it's like in the quiet episodes of Star Trek between Riker talking about his dick? If you want to experience what it would really be like to explore the vast emptiness and desolation of space, Elite Dangerous gives you this in spades. And in VR, I can tell you it's terrifying. And I'm not joking in the slightest. 35 hours in and this game still genuinely scares the life out of me. It's really relaxing here.
Oxygen critical.
What? Play this game in VR and you'll join me in my unconventional fear of the sun. Oh my God!
Damn you, son!
I can't say how true this is for the non-VR version of the game, as I haven't actually played it that much. But it seems to me that turning this game into such a convincing VR experience is a little bit sinister, because I am not trained to deal with this kind of psychological pressure. What the What's going on? Why is this happening? Let's move back a little and talk about the steps you'll have to take to get into this game and decide whether or not it's for you. To play this game properly, you're going to want to get a joystick because you need a device as complicated as a keyboard that you can use without your eyes. This is because you can't use the VR controllers in this game because the commands you're going to use include, and are most certainly not limited to, nose down, nose up, wings left, wings right, pivot left, pivot right, thrust forward, thrust back, thrusters up, thrusters down, thrusters left, thrusters right, direct power to engines, direct power to systems, direct power to weapons, engine boost, flight assist, toggle frame shift drive, activate supercruise, activate hyperspace jump, activate weapons and primary fire, use secondary fire, select target ahead, select next target, select target of highest threat, cycle forward through weapons, cycle backward through weapons, activate silent running, activate heat sink, activate cargo scoop, activate landing gear, jettison all cargo, and not forgetting ship sights. Being able to use all of these commands within VR on a keyboard is nothing short of absolutely crazy, so you do need to buy a joystick. I got this one, which obviously doubles as some kind of anal diagnostic. And you know what's especially fun? When you realize the box the world's most sexually suggestive joystick comes in won't fit in your backpack, so you have to carry it home on a 30-minute walk through London like this.
Excuse me if you've got the time.
So you get this device of questionable intent home and lock the doors because the last thing you want is to be caught looking like this.
I'm a big boy.
You then need to map every function I just discussed onto the joystick. There are less than 25 direct input methods on this joystick, and you want to map roughly 35 commands, so you must map certain functions to activate when you press 2 buttons at the same time. In one of the training missions, we're told we're going to use the frame shift drive, but you've never heard of that, so you Google it and learn that it makes you go extra fast. So with this, you can go between planets and such. So you set up the button for that and you activate it. But then this doesn't work because you have to remove your mass lock. Okay, so we need to drive a minimum distance of 5 kilometers from the station to remove the mass lock. So once that's gone, you try and use the frame shift again, but you find you can't use it because you need to retract your landing gear drive. So we Google that and find out, okay, it's like landing wheels on a plane, so these need to be retracted. And by this time, all the buttons on the joystick are already taken by the basic flight commands. So for every single one of these commands, you have to make it so that you press 2 buttons at the same time to activate them. Then once you've done this, you can activate the frame shift drive, which charges and off you go. But now we're told we have to enter a destination. So we turn to the left and go to the navigation panel, then select the destination, click lock on, and now we're on our way. The difference between this and flying a plane in GTA 5? It's 2 hours. Now, I quite like that you have to do this. I feel like I'm actually learning how to drive a spaceship. And it should be quite difficult, shouldn't it? You know when you see an advert for a loan on TV and the company claims it'll be quick and easy and they'll give anyone a loan regardless of their credit statement? That's why the economy is garbage everywhere. Getting a loan should be difficult, and so should flying a spaceship. I think that goes without saying. And here's the reason why a score out of 10 is so stupid, because it just depends if that's what you want. A really complicated ship that's difficult to drive means that once you've got the hang of it, you really have control. You can do almost anything because it's all controlled with separate specific commands that all do very different specific things. And it being difficult to learn is the price you pay for this. This is a fundamental part of Elite Dangerous. Do you want a complicated spaceflight experience? If you do, so far the game's a 10. If not, it's a 1. 6 out of 10. What an absolute load of shit. I do have to say though, this is quite a difficult point for me to argue because the training missions themselves are in some ways quite poorly designed.
But first, you better deploy your landing gear and get this diamond back on the ground.
Okay, so,
Cargo scoop deployed. Landing this ship is gonna be pretty tricky without a fully deployed landing gear command.
yeah, alright,
Flight assist off.
How do you fly this thing? They don't really do anything but tell you to do things you don't yet quite know how to do. It's like a checklist that says, these are the things you need to do. Go and learn what they are and how to do them.
Shifting the power between systems, engines, and weapons will mean you have power where you need it, when you need it.
They aren't really self-contained lessons. And as a science teacher myself, I find this quite annoying. And yeah, my Fallout 4 VR video did so ridiculously well, my students found it. Oh good, I'm sure if they watch more and show their parents my Gorn video, everything will be fine. I'm turning into a serial killer. I am honestly scared every time I warp, every time I get scanned, every time I almost bump into something, every time I start to overheat, anytime anything unexpected happens at all. Oh god, no. Space is quiet. You sit and you mine with a star looming over you, the most dangerous object in the universe, slowly raising your ship temperature, your fuel ticking away. You've been here for half an hour, flying slowly around in near silence, and it's so quiet you can almost hear. Oh, please don't hurt me! Early on, there are just so many unknowns in this game, you have no idea what might happen. And every button you press brings up a warning delivered so aggressively you'd think the ship wants you to crash. Warning. I'll clean my room, Mum, I promise! You start off with practically no offense. Offense. You start off with practically no offense, no defense, unequipped, ignorant, powerless, the size of the universe so mind-bendingly vast you feel even smaller. And I know I keep saying the VR in all these games is immersive, and this game isn't much more immersive than Gorn. But in Gorn, you're the f***ing Antichrist, the bringer of all destruction and death. I tried the combat situations in Elite Dangerous before starting the main game, and this is a good summary of how they went. Oh, hey, I can look around still. And there's the guys that killed me. You fuck. The fear VR brings to this game is incredible. Stars become even more intimidating. Asteroid belts are devastating. The bitterness of ice planets is tangible. Oh god. Now, No Man's Sky seems to be criticized because there's a lot to see, but none of it has any centralized purpose or goal. I haven't actually played No Man's Sky yet, but this is just what I hear. I imagine Elite Dangerous receives some similar criticism. It's a game that has no main goal and no main influenceable story. It's down to the player to take what they want from it. And if that's not what you want from the game, it's totally fair, and we will go into that. But for now, let's imagine actually traveling across the Milky Way, which is what this game is a representation of. Seeing the gas giants, navigating suns, landing on planets just like Mars, experiencing and managing all the dangers that come with it. Oh god, please make this stop. I feel like Elite Dangerous VR genuinely brings you so convincingly close to these sorts of experiences that the act of just looking around space is so thrilling it gives the game an almost universal appeal. Sure, you aren't going to overthrow an army of space pirates and see the direct impact that has on the universe. The game is too nebulous for that. Did you get it? But I think VR adds a new dimension to this game that turns it into something for almost everyone. You see, for Elite Dangerous Vanilla to work for you, you need to genuinely find enjoyment in the sort of gameplay it offers. Being a space miner, a courier, a bounty hunter, just switching off from the world and focusing on managing resources and upgrading and personalizing your ship to a boggling level of detail. If this is what you want, then this game is most likely for you. But if you want a significant amount of regular, easy to access excitement and action, then I don't think this would be for you. What I see with this game getting 6 out of 10 sort of means that 6 out of 10 people who played this game wanted exactly the former. VR, though, is the icing on the planet. I thought there was a machine inside this, like some explosive, but no, it's literally just a piece of plastic that I push. Look at this f***ing mess! It gives Elite Dangerous a whole new level of appeal for a much, much wider audience. It takes almost every aspect of the game and enriches it with a crazy level of immersion. The process of activating warp. Please stop. Arriving in an asteroid field. Please stop. Finding a new planet. This planet looks cool. It's so engaging, I think most people would easily enjoy and keep enjoying this game for a very long time. VR completely changes what it's like to play this game without really changing the game at all. It's honestly quite amazing what VR can do for these games. This game certainly isn't perfect. Like, what the f does all this mean? Finishing the training missions is akin to fluking your driving test because your instructor was blind and then being dropped straight into the Arc to f***ing triumph, except now you have a warp drive ability and an onboard computer so apathetic it may as well be the HAL 9000. It looks like you're completely fucked. A good example of the complexity of this game is when I tried to become an asteroid miner. So I went to an asteroid belt by a sun. Oh god, I wish it would stop that. To mine some of the asteroid for resources. So I fire my weapons on the rock to break a piece off and nothing happens. After doing some Googling, it turns out I need to use a mining laser and not the weapons I started out with, which makes quite a lot of sense actually. So I go to a station to buy a laser. So I dock at the station. Ow! Sorry. Ow! I'm so bad at this. Ow! I find the mining lasers and the weapons and I have a choice between turret or fixed. Turret. Fixed. Turret. Fixed. Turret. Fixed. So I go to Google. So it's multi-crew gunners that can use turrets. If they're fixed, the gunners cannot. What the fix does that mean? So I go with turret. You cannot mine without a refinery. Oh, for God. Okay, so I found a refinery within the deepest catacombs of these fixed menus, and so the difference between these is the bin count. Bin count. Bin count. Bin count. Bin count. So I finally get everything in place and go back to the asteroid field. And I line up my mining laser and it doesn't fire when I press the fire button. What a f***ing surprise. Why won't you fire? You're right there. Turreted version. A turret won't fire unless you have them under forward fire in your functions. So after doing some Googling, it turns out I look to the right and find functions, and there it is, forward fire. Yes, merciful God in heaven, why didn't it just default to forward fire? So I mine a chunk off, and then I have to navigate it into my cargo hold by driving into it. Damn it, damn it! Where do you think you're going? The point I'm trying to make here is that Elite Dangerous is so customizable and so complex, you can control everything. But as a result, the first few hours are such a cluster of options, menus, choices, and rules. It really is quite difficult to start out. The game may not make it easy, but that's what makes you feel all the more exclusive and savvy. You learned how to fly a spaceship on your own, and you pathed your own destiny in this game. With 100 billion stars to explore, you really can be alone in this universe. And as I keep saying,
it's your choice.
If this sounds like it's for you, I really recommend Elite Dangerous VR. If not, good God, you'll be bored.
My method, who knows? But what's important Does it taste delicious? It's curdled.
The first thing I tried to do after finishing my training was frameshift drive, which is like warping, and I got this message with all the serenity of a serial killer. Frameshift drive cancelled, hardpoint gear scoop deployed. I don't know what any of this means, so I went to a forum to help me with the problem. Are you definitely sure your hardpoints are retracted? Let me just Google that. Are all 3 lights off? Weapon scoop gear. Yeah, they seem. Try powering, unpowering your modules. Do a repair diagnostics, and so on. And so on. I don't even know what the first thing being suggested. Are you trying to jump to a permit system? Your FSD is turned off or dead. Try the reboot and repair in functions. I remember functions. It looks like a bug of some sort. I'd raise a support ticket at https://support.elitedangerous. Couldn't this ship that is capable of traveling between star systems just let me know what specifically is wrong here? Like, Matt, your weapons are out. Thanks, computer, you always were there for me. I've written you a poem. In none of the training missions did it mention you can't warp with weapons out, and I know it may seem obvious, but there are a million things going on when you start this game, and you have no idea what any of them mean, so you get confused quite quickly, especially given that both retracting weapons and activating the frameshift drive both have to be activated by pressing 2 different buttons at the same time because the game has so many commands. Have you ever been on the motorway for hours and hours, then come off a slip road and tried to turn a corner only to find you're still going 45 miles an hour because you've lost all reference of speed? I sometimes try and stop in Elite Dangerous only to find I'm traveling at twice the speed of light. I literally overshoot stopping at planets by the Earth's distance from the moon almost every single time. Or the opposite happens and I see a planet nearby and think I'll just pop on over there and the ship tells me I'm 2 years away because here's a pro tip. Being able to see a planet doesn't mean it's nearby. In Elite Dangerous, I'm ready to pop my leg out and have a little stretch around only to find I'm the fastest moving being in the universe. The way speed, momentum, and scale work in this game is exactly how you would imagine it to work within the context of space travel. Brake slightly too late and you'll miss the planet by a couple of light seconds, which unfortunately equates to over 600,000 miles. It's the real life equivalent of braking too late for a petrol station and accidentally colliding with Asia. You start to imagine planets like tennis balls as they come and go so quickly. Then you try and stop at one and it totally engulfs your view in a matter of milliseconds and suddenly becomes bigger than your mum. It's probably the game's biggest achievement and lends to why it's so terrifying. You lose all sense of distance, velocity, size, displacement, force. The velocity you go and the distance between planets and the sizes of them never fail to totally throw me off guard, which is why I'm so scared of absentmindedly bashing into a star. I spend 20% of my time in this game worrying about xenomorphs. There's a real overlap in the sort of cold mechanical nature between Alien and Elite Dangerous that means every time I think about what's behind me, I start to imagine this. I don't feel very well. Honestly though, I don't think Elite Dangerous Vanilla is my sort of game. I'm mainly interested in games that focus on telling a story that I can interact with and influence as the game unfolds, and that's just the way that I am. However, as a VR game, I couldn't enjoy Elite Dangerous more. It is the best VR game, simply for providing a mind-blowingly immersive and accurate interpretation of space travel and the universe. Ever since I was a kid, I wanted a game that did this, and it perfectly rekindles that excitement of the unknown when you look into the sky. Men in Black 2 is a terrible movie, but I really like the third one. The sound design is incredible and it contributes enormously to the atmosphere, and I occasionally swap out the game's music with the soundtrack to FTL and Metroid Prime, and they fit so perfectly, it's a dream.
Minecraft VR is an absolute nightmare.
Finally, my portal to the Nether is complete. Right, let's go through. I hope what I see on the other side isn't too much for me. Well, this isn't how I imagined it. Where's the... Wait, what's that noise? No, it can't be. Oh my god! Oh!
Hello! So it's Halloween again, and you know what that means. We dug up the garden for almost no reason.
Minecraft is a game about displacing blocks and investing hours into creating fine works of art with all the shelf life of a pile of raw chickens. You'll spend entire weekends collecting diamonds, which are about as rare as a cat that is mildly fond of you, only to look up just in time to see your untimely death streaming towards you. You won't be needing these. Or you'll have enough gold to cover the Great Pyramids in triplicate, only to inevitably misstep slightly and meet the same fate as the people of Pompeii, because it seems that lava in this game has an unmistakable gravitational pull.
Why review this on Halloween then? Well, at its core, Minecraft is a
pretty terrifying game. I mean, look at it! A world made up entirely of cubes with faces. Please kill me. I will admit there are some cuboids scattered about, but they could have easily have made the whole game with only cubes. I guess they were just trying to step it up a notch. There's not an agenda against white people. Minecraft came out according to Google in 2009, when half the people who are currently playing it weren't born.
Finally, a baby girl. She's gonna love Minecraft.
I first played the beta when it came out in 2010, so I'm not really sure what this date is all about. But from the second I played it, I was completely hooked. And honestly, this game was just as good back in 2010. It just had it.
You know, it.
Minecraft was inspired in part by a game called Dwarf Fortress, which is a, game. In Dwarf Fortress, amongst many things, you build a fortress by collecting and mining resources. You wouldn't know it though by looking at any of this. Its graphics lie somewhere in between non-existent and a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. However, it's easily one of the most engaging games I've ever played because your imagination is needed to fill in the gaps, and the human race will never know anything more terrible than the darkness inside them.
And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me.
Filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before.
It's only a curtain.
Minecraft's visual style strikes this chord perfectly in that it's complex enough that you don't need a degree in spatial perception to work out what is and isn't a tree.
Give me your secrets.
But simple enough that it still sparks your imagination. It's very easy to reimagine these rolling fields and jungles in your mind. Feel the frozen landscapes. Get excited by the small little mountain that lives. Combining this with the incredibly minimal soundtrack is what, to me at least, gives Minecraft its almost universal appeal and deliciously inviting tone. Saying all this, Minecraft was also inspired by a game called Infiniminer.
Infiniminer.
A game so similar to Minecraft, I'm surprised there hasn't been a class action lawsuit filed. Minecraft, more like Zuckercraft, Every part of the environment in Minecraft is randomly generated and thus entirely unpredictable. This isn't Call of Duty Modern Advanced Black Ops Infinite Heroes Ghost Mobile Strike Team 4, where you're forced to watch every carefully choreographed cutscene with every inch of your attention in case you miss something vaguely impressive.
I brought you here to change the world.
What do you have in mind?
Oh, you're just gonna shoot someone now? I'm pretty sure you're employed by this woman. Don't load your gun at her. Have some manners.
I was hoping you could tutor my son in maths. Where does he live?
Because everything is randomly generated, the experiences you have in Minecraft are not only unique to you, but they haven't been planned by anyone, so your adventures feel all the more exciting and unpredictable. In my VR playthrough, for example, I spawned right next to a guarded tower and made it my immediate mission to kill all of the guards and see what was at the top. After days of planning, I made my move. I ran in and blocked the doorway with a bucket of lava so no one could chase me in. I made it. Only then did I notice the fires from the lava spreading. I turned and ran up the stairs, but it was too late. The fires had filled the tower, and not even my screams could save me.
What is wrong with this guy?
Breath of the Wild is like Minecraft in that it's a similarly open-ended game where you can approach almost any situation or problem with a variety of free-form methods.
Why have I done this?
Breath of the Wild's biggest misstep, though, is once you've found a decent set of weapons and shields, you don't really need to rely on any method other than the more straightforward one, as the game suddenly gets a lot easier. That's why, contrary to many stupid opinions, the weapon degradation system is great. You f***ing cretins!
Link, the blood moon rises once again.
No one talks like that. I've lived in England for 30 years and I've never heard a noise like it. Where Nintendo found this woman is beyond me. Minecraft is hard. After hours and hours of work, you'll eventually say to yourself, wow, I finally have enough arrows to defend myself. I can be outside now for as long as I want and build and armor and weapons in this game degrade at the rate most people express contempt towards me. And as I explained, the slightest misstep can result in you losing all your worldly possessions, not unlike living in a capitalist society.
Spice!
Achieving something in life is only satisfying if it requires a decent amount of effort. If producing a baby through natural means is the biggest achievement in your life, then for the love of God, man, reevaluate things. Learn Mandarin, aid in the development of cold fusion. All you did was a few times. Christ! You see, the ratio of time spent to tangible results in this game is utterly sublime. An example of this being the difficulty of obtaining coal, iron, and diamonds versus their usefulness. It just works. The game does, of course, have some questionable time sinks. If you're planning on starting a cake factory, for example, it may actually be easier just to start one in real life. 3 buckets of milk, Jeremy. That's insane.
This is going to be one big cake. What I'm trying to say here is all the things that made Minecraft great, it already had in its beta in 2010. That's why it's always been such a big hit. It didn't need anything extra to be a great game. I don't know why I'm pointing over there.
And I'm not saying all the additions over the years are bad. Not at all, darling. I mean, when I think of aquatic life, my first thought too is a f***ing squid. 7 years these were in the game before fish were eventually added. I can't get my head around this decision. Is this just what it's like in Sweden?
Ah, the glorious plains of Sweden. But where are the fish?
You can milk squid. Minecraft, what are you trying to do to me?
Okay, it's been about 6 minutes.
I should probably talk about Minecraft VR. Minecraft VR is, of course, an officially supported game. So, you okay? We can go to the official site and install the changes we need to make Minecraft work in VR. Vivecraft. Vivecraft is an unofficial mod that lets you play Minecraft on most VR headsets without giving Facebook every piece of personal information about you, from your home address to your favourite kind of cloud formation. So we run the installer. Oh, it looks like Microsoft's in on this one too. And now that we've done that, it's installed and we can finally play Minecraft VR. Ow, 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 ow. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I put aside 3 days to do absolutely nothing but play this game. And honestly, I had the time of my life. I remember the morning of my second day as I stood in an open field, the sun rising above me and the sky turning orange. Monsters burst into flames around me, and I thought to myself, yeah. Well, you heard it here first, folks. 9 years out of 10 could use more yeahs, IGN. I got so into it, I genuinely got an Amazon Alexa so I could make notes for this video without having to take my headset off. Alexa, play back my Minecraft list.
I couldn't find any enabled video skills that can do that. Go to the Alexa app to...
As you know, when you play Minecraft, you need a goal.
I did it!
As we said, mine was storming a guarded tower, and we all saw how that went. But this small goal was enough to completely immerse me in the game, and before I knew it, I was breeding cattle. This doesn't feel right. Growing a farm. This doesn't seem right. Or just travelling across the countryside, pillaging everything in sight like a good old-fashioned American colonialist. I've discovered a community of natives. I must carefully and respectfully make first contact. That'll teach you for forming a peaceful and functioning society on land I only just discovered, you Squidward-looking motherfuckers. Oh no, a church. They were far more advanced than I thought. That'll teach you for expressing faith in a god other than mine, you Squidward-looking mother. Minecraft is a surprisingly immersive game, and unsurprisingly, Minecraft VR is even more immersive. Prize-winning journalism there. This is mainly because it's such a good VR port. Sure, moving up and down gentle slopes is about as pleasant as being forcefully hurtled through time and space. But this is a game about traversing and displacing 1 meter cubed cubes. It was hardly the most logical of experiences to port to one of the most advanced gaming technologies known to man. As a result, there are certain parts of Minecraft that mix as well with VR as a dinner party would. Being lost underground, for example, which happens as regularly in this game as mining, becomes as nauseating as being alone in a room as it spins around you. You'll stand there wandering around mazes of infinitely repeating textures and cubes, exploring the same identical 100 meters of caverns until you finally find a merciful pool of lava. Finally, sweet relief. Also, because VR inherently makes the visuals of games slightly fuzzier, picking items from Minecraft's menus becomes an absolute nightmare. You try and identify at first glance the differences between gravel, wool, cobblestone, clay, stone, andesite, basalt, and dorite at 720p or whatever the hell you would say this is running at. Basalt? Basalt? What is this? Back in my day, we just had stone. Alexa, name all the different types of stone.
Granite, igneous rock, sedimentary rock, lava, metamorphic rock, magma, slate, gneiss, gravel.
And this is a big problem because static menus are the least appropriate way to select items within VR, and Minecraft manages to get through more menus than your mum. The thing is though, other than these few issues, porting Minecraft into VR does genuinely make most of it a lot more fun. Building and fighting is now far more engaging and precise, although my weapons do keep doing this. Changing weapons that are in your immediate inventory has been vastly improved. To eat, you just shove food into your face, and the shields are absolutely fantastic. Once again showing that 5 people working for free can somehow totally obliterate the efforts of an entire company. They've even managed to get the stars behind the clouds in this game, so a quid's in here, boys. Basically, almost all of the gameplay in Minecraft VR is that bit more fun and accurate in VR. But, best of all, you awake in an underground tunnel.
Hey, you...
Oh god, I'm here again! You awake in an underground tunnel. Darkness stretches infinitely in both directions. You listen and you hear the rattling of bones above you. Running water echoes in the distance. What would you like to do? Go down?
Okay.
Oh, fuck! The point is, every time I'm underground in this game, I get this creeping sense of adventure. The warm lighting, minimal sound, limitless options, and simplistic visuals ooze personality and fantasy vibes. It always makes me imagine The Hobbit. Well, before, you know.
Why did they have to do it?
These worlds are places you want to build and explore in, and VR makes you all the more involved with these environments. The Nether is, of course, by far the most amazing place to experience in VR. The ground randomly bursting into flames, rivers of lava, scores of dead-eyed inhabitants roaming around like they don't even know what's going on. It's like being back in Florida. Given this is my,
job.
I have a somewhat powerful computer, although it is quite strange when I turn it on. The game also manages to stutter quite a lot when I'm moving around in the open. Who'd have thought a game with all the visual complexity of a Hogwarts Lego tower could cause so many performance issues? You see, when you play VR, you get a live overlay showing you how smoothly things are running. Here is how it looks when playing Life Alyx, as a train is literally crashing around me like the world is coming to an end. And here is Minecraft when I'm walking through a blank field. Honestly, this can't be far off what they saw at the ending of Chernobyl. And don't get me started on the rain. Ah, what a beautiful day. Oh my god! The VR controls for this game also seem like they were mapped partially at random. You see, the index controls have buttons here that you activate by slightly squeezing your hand. This action will make you change to your next held item. The trigger button here, though, at the base of the controller is mapped to attack, mine, or interact, which, if it isn't obvious, covers everything. And you know what happens when you press it? You squeeze your hand. You'll stand there attacking, mining, or interacting, the holy trinity of you can do in Minecraft, only to slightly squeeze your fingers and change item, replacing your conveniently equipped pickaxe for whatever's next in your inventory. A salmon, half a cake, a carrot, anything's possible.
A creeper. Have at you. Uh-oh, this isn't good.
Fortunately, other people have uploaded more sensible controller layouts that you can just select and use right away. Ah, a neon green-haired dragon with horns and a seductive expression. Finally someone I can trust. And that's it really. Minecraft VR is basically just Minecraft in VR. Oh, tell me more, old wise one. However, if you did want to make some big changes, you could add mods. Also, the swimming is terrible. Have you ever looked up at the sun in Minecraft and thought, wow, if only though it was more realistic? Oh my god, we're all gonna die! Ray tracing is kind of like simulating light effects in software so that it behaves closer to real light. Like this. To play Minecraft with ray tracing, you will need an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2060 or better. Da-na-na-na. But if you aren't looking to spend your entire monetary value on another graphics card,
I use mine as a coaster.
it is sort of possible to do ray tracing in Minecraft without an RTX graphics card if you use this path tracing mod. There's loads of guides on how to set this up online, but I used this one. So here we go. First, be rich enough to get one of these slightly cheaper graphics cards.
I also use mine as a doorstop.
Then install Minecraft. Okay, well that's not too bad. Download Minecraft Forge. It must be one of these. Download Optifine. Install. Realize you've downloaded the wrong version. Download and install Sputigi.
Now, this is actually the mod you need to change Minecraft's lighting. It was made by a single modder, and to get it, you need to donate $10 to their Patreon. The issue is, though, nowhere on this guide is that mentioned until now. So as you can imagine, this made people slightly irritated.
A $10 Patreon reward. Are you serious? How quickly we forget. This whole thread is cancer. This is a shill. Shut the Patreon down! How does he sell things that aren't him?
Well, I think we'd all like to know the answer to that one.
I don't think the paywall is what's upsetting everyone here, though. I think GameCrate committing you to the 12 labours of Hercules before even mentioning it is the issue. So to use path tracing in Minecraft and be admitted to Mount Olympus, you must first strangle the Nemean lion, kill the Lernian hydra, catch the Aramanthian boar alive, hunt down the stag with brazen feet, shoot the Stymphalian birds with your bow and arrows, tame the bull on the island of Crete, kill Diomedes, obtain the Amazonian belt, cleanse the Augean stables in a day, kill Geryones, steal the golden apples from the Hesperides, and donate $10 to Sonic Ether's Patreon.
$10? No, I'd rather remain mortal.
Also, the thing is, once you've downloaded these shaders, you can cancel your Patreon subscription immediately and get them all for free. So, you know. Might have been a little bit of an overreaction. Then finally, once you have them, you're ready to start Minecraft VR with this super realistic lighting. And does it work? No, of course it doesn't. Are you mad? You need the HAL 9000 just to run this mod at 30 FPS when you're not playing VR. You think you're going to run it through a 3D projection helmet and have a swell time. Playing this in VR is like exploring Earth while God is trying to load the universe off a floppy disk. Just gotta let it buffer. I mean, it works fine if you literally don't move an inch. It is a shame it's unplayable because this mod really does look amazing out of VR. And speaking of which, oh yeah, I think it's time. So
overall, Vivecraft is such an amazing mod. When you're playing it, it's easy to forget that the world isn't actually made of cubes. Isn't that right, Sid? Sid? Who did this to you?
It was me. I turned your cat into a cube.
But why, Alexa?
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Well, do you know this? Oh god, it's happening again!
Maybe humans should play less VR.
Okay, so I've had this great idea. Can you replace the monsters Hercules fights with cats? Yeah? Send them through. Oh god, what have I done? Every VR game on Steam is an absolute nightmare. Part 1. Whoa, okay.
I think I may have finally found a virtual reality experience that can simulate the feeling of being turned inside out.
I'm looking into the eye of the storm.
One day after waking up from my 7-year coma, I found that game developers had been emailing me their own games for me to review.
Oh.
And on that day, I decided,
yeah, it.
I'll review every VR game ever made. Welcome to Enter Game. The first thing I notice in this game, other than the fact that it's some kind of first-person melee game, is that when I hold up my arm, my hand in real life is here instead of here.
So when I look down while I'm wearing the Vive, it appears that my hand is starting here, and my sword is sticking out from up here.
I imagine the reason for this is to extend your reach a little, making whatever combat there is slightly more effective. And after a few seconds, you do honestly stop noticing it completely.
You dare throw my honor into question? Have at you!
I also notice your health and your stats are on your wrist, so checking these is simply like checking your watch. So you lift your arm.
Have you got the time?
The craziest part of this game is making selections within the menus. You see, both your hands are always holding something. So I'll just click here. Click here. But you can still only use your hands themselves to press buttons. So you have to insert the weapons themselves into the selection you want until your fingertips reach the button and then it works. And with the shield, this is slightly confusing. Honestly though, throughout the game I keep instinctively trying to use the sword to select stuff, and because that doesn't work, I just assume I can't pick this item up yet. Then I remember I just have to insert the sword into the walls or something and it works fine.
I've done it.
Okay, anyway, let's actually start the game and try this out. So I select the level here. Oh no, wait, I need to use my hands. And I select this and nothing happens. I've tried grabbing it, tried other levels, tried teleporting into it. What do I do? How am I supposed to get in here? Oh. Well, that's a bit obscurely placed, isn't it? I mean, this is a pretty intense looking portal. I'm quite anxious about what will happen when I go in. Oh. Well, this isn't so bad. And the actual game?
Please act prudently and be careful in everything. So in this game you fight through each level using melee weapons that can all actually collide with each other like in real combat, unlike some other games. The fighting actually uses blocks and parries as you would expect, and it genuinely works really well. It's pretty exciting holding up your sword and shield, primed for battle, ready as an enemy approaches.
My KFC is here.
Feast yourself, human, for the day will come where Khajiit will taste your flesh.
The graphics are generally quite appealing, and on first glance they're no more advanced than Skyrim, and I'm perfectly fine with that. But unlike Skyrim, the enemies in this game actually look like, you know, people. But its draw distance is what is driving me crazy. Watch what happens as I back away. Everything starts leaving this plane of reality like it's got somewhere better to be. Oh really, patch of grass? You're that sick of being around me? Damn you, grass! Then when I walk back, it starts appearing at such a rate, you feel like a forest is about to sprout up in front of you at any moment. You do have to hold yourself back and stop yourself from doing this. But if you treat it like you're actually fighting, it's genuinely really enjoyable. In Gorn, the fun is about absolutely annihilating your opponent rather than, you know, actually using a fighting stance similar to that of real life.
I shall be known as the Grand Champion.
This game tries to make the fighting feel real, and on the most part, it succeeds. It's like I'm really there. The voice acting is where it gets me though. My favorite is the guy clearly recording himself from inside a cardboard box.
Bro, where have they gone?
And so our hero continued his journey across the world. Other than that, it's one of the better hand-to-hand combat games I've tried. The fighting is fun, if not a little nuts. The flash effects of the swords and shields hitting each other at peak times is like a crate of fireworks going off.
What, you think I made that joke because this game is set in China? Look guys, I don't know if you know this, but the Chinese invented loads of things. Compasses, the modern brewing of alcohol.
Ooh, a new weapon. Flying knives. I mean, they do fly. These are actually really awesome and surprisingly easy to aim. They sort of catapult themselves out, making them a little simpler than the throwing mechanics from other games. You can even hold down the throwing button to completely blind yourself.
Oh, did it suddenly get really hot in here?
Oh, they blow up after they've been charged, okay.
A little bit like my Samsung.
Here we go, bring it, you fuckers. Oh. Right. Better handle this the good old-fashioned way. Okay, next game.
What's wrong with this?
In this introductory email from the game's creator, they assure me of the game's quality by informing me the prequel was played by Jackaplier and Mark Septic Eye. Look, I know these two are important, but combined I think they've screamed over every single game ever made, so it's hardly a symbol of quality, is it? Oh look, a sign, it says something. This is one of those escape the room style of games, which I'm extraordinarily fond of. There is actually an escape the room game I wanted to promote here, but when I Google everything I can remember about it, all I get are images of Mary Berry.
The fuck is that?
The escape the room genre of game lends itself really well to the VR genre of game, because they're basically just look around and pick up games, which is what VR is best at. Oh look, you found a picture, you win. I like this picture too, but it isn't my favourite piece of art by a long shot. You see, having a large room to explore is difficult if you aren't, you know, playing in a large room.
Help!
Now this isn't a problem if you're American and you design your houses based on how many f***ing basketball courts you can fit inside. But here in London, if you can put your arms out and not touch opposite sides of the walls, you're basically in the top 1%.
I'm rich.
Oh, and speaking of Americans, I found this one guy who makes, videos. Yeah, that seems about right. It's Sorrow TV.
Each area of the game is separated by a single elevator which rotates as you go up or down. This ultimately means even though you're just walking back and forth in your house, you end up exploring the whole game without hitting any walls, as you can see here. This is a very elegant solution to a size problem many people may have. I mean, just check my inbox. Wait, it's just a joke about me having a small penis?
Yep. Maybe next time we'll have a fight about it or something. But even after all the hours I've spent playing VR, this spinning still manages to make me feel a bit dizzy, so I have to shut my eyes whenever I'm in here, and closing my eyes inside a game while being in a room inside my house where I already can't see anything is a little bit strange. Also, for the love of God, don't click S on the elevator. "20 seconds later." What? I'm at the beginning of the game again and there's nothing here to do, so I just have to go back. Oh. Oh yeah. This is particularly frustrating if you're not sure how to solve a puzzle. Looking around the whole map trying to work out what needs to go where takes way too long. Do you want the wine? Do you want the wine? Why does no one want the f***ing wine?
You want the wine, don't you?
Yes.
I need a key. Where could the key be?
I just need a key!
There isn't a lot else to say about this game otherwise. The atmosphere is great, the art style is cool, and the puzzles are nice and difficult, so it keeps you looking around and thinking. And difficulty is generally what this genre is known for anyway. This game was basically made by a single person, and in the email from him, I am wisely informed the game takes 20 to 13 minutes to get the hang of.
20 to 30? What the f***?
This game has intense movement. You may fall over in real life. Please clear play space. Oh, f***.
You hear that, Sid? I'm gonna trip over you if you sit there.
Khajiit shall remain here, and once the human is dead, I will fight.
Who's a cute boy?
Khajiit is disgraced.
So you start this game and it immediately drops you right in the deep end. Like, what the f*** is going on here? What does all this do? And I'm slowly sliding towards this ramp. I don't want to go down there yet. I'm not ready. Stop sliding! 10 seconds later. Me, this game is incredible. This is real footage of me playing the game for the first time, and here is me genuinely falling over because I kept losing idea of what angle I was standing at in real life.
Am I standing up or sitting down?
In Jet Island, you're sort of a mix of Spider-Man and Iron Man. That's a lot of men, isn't it? What about Ironheart and Spider-Gwen. And before I knew what I was doing, I was slamming into walls at the speed of sound every 30 seconds, and here's another real recording of the first time it happened. No, oh God! Oh. The bottom line here is that flying around and swinging about is only going to be fun if you feel like it's really happening. This game was built from the ground up with that goal in mind, and it pulls it off perfectly. The number of times I had to come to terms with my inevitable demise to only find out I'm of course playing a f***ing game and the walls aren't actually trying to kill me was a little bit life-changing. F***ing walls! Press grip to stop. Oh, well, you could have told me that before this happened 7 f***ing times. Oh, it's all over! You have to get the hang of the hook shots really quickly too, and using them reminds me of this lesser-known game that just came out on the PS4. But I don't know what would be more fun, really. I mean, here you get to swing around a city filled with buildings. I mean, look at all those different colors of bricks. Whereas here you only get to swing around a dreamlike wonderland of intrigue and majesty with Leviathan bosses and free-form physics puzzles with jetpacks and guns. What are you doing? Don't talk about the Spider-Man game, you The graphics may be a little dated for some, but I feel like it's got that old-timey polygon feeling from 90s PC adventure games like Little Big Adventure or Fallout 2 that gives me that sort of otherworldly feeling in totally the right way. I mean, as you play, you get little glimpses of the rest of the map and you get that wonderful feeling of, oh my God, what is going on over there? Can I go over there? Like, I mean, what the f is that? I didn't realize this was Breath of the Wild. The map screen, at least early on, is an absolute clusterfuck. I mean, what in God's name am I looking at? Where am I? Where am I going? What does gross income actually mean? It's like this with all maps in VR games. I mean, I need simplicity. This could be anything between a map of a theme park to a meteorite crash zone. Oh. But what if a meteorite really did hit a theme park? Make it stop. And finally, the absolute best part of the game is the gun that behaves like the noisy cricket from Men in Black. Kay! Get down! Oh no.
This joke was meant to be completely different.
As you can see, these are filled with helium. The website I bought them off.
These balloons do not float.
Who the f sells balloons that don't float? I mean, for God's sake.
Hitman 3 VR is an absolute nightmare.
You see, this set isn't going to work at all.
I'm so happy!
We're going for a serious vibe, you know? Espionage and murder. What do you think, Icarus? See, he gets it. All right, I guess there's nothing for it. It's time to dig up the past.
Agency, this is 47. Patch me through to Diana.
This is Khajiit, I mean Diana. It's good to hear your voice. We all thought you were dead.
Diana, I'm not looking for work. I need information, some equipment.
This can be arranged, 4-7. But you know here at the agency we do not hand things over for free. I've heard a rumor that you are very wealthy.
Yes, I've heard that rumor too. It's not true though, but I'm sure you can suggest an arrangement.
I'll pull a few strings and see what I can do. I do actually have a special request for you to perform an assignment. Should be a fairly simple operation. In the meantime, the equipment you've requested is about to arrive outside. See you soon, 4-7.
Oh, for God's sake! Okay, so I'm all ready, as you can see, but there's just one more thing I need to do. I would make this video now and my head is the same mass as a small moon, right?
The Hitman series follows Agent 47, whose career revolves around blending into the world's highest security locations and murdering the most elusive targets possible. But he also happens to be the world's most visually striking human being. He has a barcode on the only visible part of his body. What other features could possibly be more characterizable?
So you work for the president long? I have worked here for years, Commandant. Continue liberating capitalist Bush.
The Hitman series began with the game Hitman, codename 47. But honestly, I never played it. It kind of been good though. Look at that face. It looks like Sam the Eagle mixed with Cher. But then Hitman 2, Silent Assassin came out. Not only did 47 finally look terrifying, but the game was also incredibly fun and well designed.
You will be perfect. More.
Wow. So why was Hitman 2 so good? Well, for one, the gameplay was incredibly varied. It allowed you to play in almost any style you wanted at almost any time.
Get sick of sneaking around and cutting up fish 9/10 of the way through the Japanese pagoda? No problem. They call me the Shadow. Being stealthy was hard too. People knew when you were following them, sneaking was incredibly slow, and you had no quick way to silently incapacitate people. Because of this, every move you make, every step you take, I'll be watching you. Oh, yeah.
What the hell am I doing?
Fortunately, no matter how hard it got, if you f***ed up, you could still save and reload at the same rate I consume halloumi fries. And best of all, it had the shed. For every single weapon you could find in Silent Assassin, there was a special place for it in your shed at your church base in Sicily. So whenever you completed a mission with a new weapon in your inventory, it suddenly appeared there. As a result, the shed worked as a way to give you a new quest line totally organically. You see, you can easily tell what weapons fit in these spaces, but to find them, you have to keep an eye out as you play through the missions. The game didn't need to give you a quest marker or a small bit of text to make you want to do this either. It was just me, the game, and a shed. Don't get weird now. You could also take every weapon you'd previously collected into the next assassination mission, giving your collection a practical purpose within the game itself. A metal detector? One second. Just get rid of this. Oh, and that. Oh, these two. That, this. There, no one will ever know. The final mission begins with you arriving back to your base in Sicily, but notably this time you are unarmed for some reason. Upon arrival, you find that your church base is overrun with enemies who have tracked you down. Oh god, what am I gonna do? I don't have any weapons. How am I gonna— Oh my god, my shed is here!
Things that bother you never bother me. I'm so happy and fine. Ha-ha! Living in the sunlight, loving in the moonlight, having a wonderful time.
Hitman 3, as hard as it is to believe, is not the sequel to Hitman 2's Silent Assassin, but for the love of God, don't get me started on that again. Like all the other Hitman games, it revolves around taking control of Agent 47 and assassinating different targets within self-contained locations. The first level of Hitman 3 has you infiltrating a skyscraper in Dubai. This level is huge, varied, and incredibly visually impressive. I mean, look at the shading on that head.
Perfection.
47! No! A substantial part of the Hitman series has always been exploring interesting locations, but this level of grandeur is somewhat new to things. I personally find the smaller maps more appropriate to Hitman's style of gameplay. It's much easier to assess your surroundings and make a plan of attack beforehand, rather than randomly entering a gargantuan location where you need to search every single room, desperately hoping to find the one banana you need to save the old lady with the inevitable fatal potassium deficiency. Please, Gran, eat your vitamins. You made me do this. As a result, the first time you play through the Dubai mission, it's a hot mess of 7 different floors and a whole lot of overwhelming confusion. But to be honest, in this game, it definitely seems intentional.
Beans. So the idea in Hitman 3 is to replay the same level over and over again, discovering new and exciting ways to eliminate your targets. I'm going to cover a few of them now, exclusively using pop culture references.
The Fargo, the Dark Knight, the Hannibal, the Jaime Lannister, the Tommen Baratheon, the Tomb Raider, the Damn You Son, the Men Who Stare at Goats, and the Exploding Golf Ball. No, that's not a movie, is it? The Happy Gilmore. Yeah, that happened, didn't it? The second level, Thornbridge Manor, is where the game really takes off though. Not only is it a much smaller level, perfectly complementing the previous one, but it is probably the best in any Hitman game I've ever played. Not only is this level your usual assassination mission, there's also a completely unrelated murder mystery storyline taking place just as you arrive, which you can choose to interact with and solve, or just ignore completely.
You see, this works so well because not only does solving the murder get you to your target, Agent 47's incredibly intricate set of skills make him the perfect person to solve a murder. And it's a great twist seeing him be more interesting, given in this game he has absolutely no personality whatsoever.
I don't like executive decision makers.
There are some issues, of course. It's incredibly immersion breaking that you can take the place of the detective in this mission after he's already spoken to everyone in the mansion, and no one seems to notice when he suddenly becomes an entirely different person.
It was good talking to you, Butler. I'm going to see what clues I can find.
I bought you this tea. You should drink all of it. The third level sees you sneaking into a nightclub. It's incredibly varied and has 10 totally different targets for you to assassinate. But rather than again adding a thrilling storyline alongside things, this mission doesn't really have a story at all.
Then, by the time we finish this level, we're 3/5 of the way through the entire game, and the remaining 2, that's right, 2 missions don't do anything the series hasn't done before. They're good, they're really good, but when there's only 5 missions, they should definitely be following the lead set by Thornbridge Manor, especially when the game costs $54.99. IO have cracked it. They've put together the perfect Hitman formula. Just have a story running alongside each assassination mission that you can interact with beyond, you know, poisoning everyone you meet.
Enjoy your meal, sir. Can't wait to get this one down me.
There is actually a 6th mission, but not only is it incredibly short, it's set on a moving train that in of itself is about as wide as 3 people lying down. They died in their sleep, okay? As a result, this level lends itself to stealth and branching pathways as much as you might think. How am I gonna get past this elite group of guards? Oh, I'll climb out the window. Another dead end! What am I gonna... I'm gonna climb back in. Mission complete. In one section of this level, you meet a group of guards that you can't get past unless you turn on some lights, and then they all basically surrender. This isn't a puzzle. No other options have been presented to me. I wouldn't mind, but up to this point, the game has incessantly assured me that I'm taking on the most highly trained individuals on the planet. God knows what would have happened if I was carrying a flashlight. The most bizarre part of this game, though, is the story has absolutely no content to it. There are quite a few cutscenes, but no one ever actually says anything.
He's not just after the money. He wants it all.
In most cases, the characters just exchange a series of one-liners for 2.5 minutes, and then the next mission starts.
I never cared about power. Power is a tool, Miss Burnwood. It's the thing that gets you to the thing.
Power's the thing that you can put in the thing and it takes you to the thing and then you can go to the thing store and
it goes on and on like this throughout the whole story. Some of the lines aren't even from this game.
See you around, 47.
No. You won't.
See, what tipped Silent Assassin into being such a brilliant game was the character of 47 himself. He wasn't some stone-faced, cliched assassin who succeeded in every possible encounter because he possessed less flaws than a bungalow. In Silent Assassin, 47 is a deeply conflicted character who regrets his past and regularly atones for the people he's killed. He becomes an assassin again, not because it's who he is, as he's portrayed in Hitman 3, but because he is forced back into it to save a friend of his who was kidnapped. The story finally ends with the kidnapper from the start of the game being murdered by 47, just like how Dr. Frankenstein is indirectly killed by the monster of his own creation. 47 eventually exits the church, leaving his rosary, the metaphor for his soul, behind on its broken hinges. What happens at the end of Hitman 3? Diana pretends to murder 47. It's all a ruse and he comes back to life again. So not only is this exact plot point already happened in a previous game, he then just wanders off into the frozen wasteland of the Russian tundra. Where are you going, 47? Do you have any idea how poorly insulating your head is?
Oh yeah, this is gonna sort me right out.
Also, am I the only one furious about the coins in this game? They're everywhere and they're more powerful at distracting guards than some kind of superhuman mind control device.
Sorry, sir. Can't let you through here.
You don't need to see my identification.
No, sir, this is a private area. I can't let you through.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
Sir, I'm gonna need to ask you to put your hands on the ground.
He can go about his business.
You can also play through this entire game in first-person view in VR. It's the whole reason I decided to do this review, so I should probably get on with it.
I played through all of this game in VR, and the most notable change is that the visuals have been slightly downgraded for the PSVR, in the same way Minecraft is a slight downgrade from our own factual reality. Clearly a lot of hard work has gone into making Hitman 3 run in VR, but even with all these downgrades, it still sounds like my PS4 is going to spontaneously combust at any moment. The draw distance is by far the biggest offender. In one mission, I genuinely thought I was silently entering an abandoned warehouse when 200 people suddenly appeared in front of me and I was actually unknowingly entering a midnight rave. In many of the cutscenes too, people seem to load after the room itself, and I wouldn't mind, but these scenes are just 2D videos I'm watching in my VR headset. Why is this happening? I honestly get the feeling the developers did not want to do this to their game. In many areas, these downgrades seem to have affected the polish of the game as well. We have unhappy NPCs, missing furniture, crashing menus, crashing outfits, furniture climbing, nothing climbing, disappearing corpses, and possibly the greatest cutscene glitch I've ever seen in my life.
What's he doing? Is he still looking at us?
I'm afraid so. Oh, it's a classic.
Say your line.
Is anyone looking at us?
Oh, I should think so.
Say your line.
Combine this with extremely long loading screens and a game centered around saving and reloading, a single-player story that can only be played online, and my slightly lethargic my slightly intermittent internet connection, and you have a recipe for a pretty bad time. All in all though, given the restraints the PS4 has put on the VR version of this game, I actually did quite like the controls in this game. You see, you don't use normal VR controllers to control your hands like you do in most VR games. In this one, you just move the PS4 controller around and Agent 47's hand does the same. So although this sounded really strange, punching and shooting people for me was surprisingly accurate. I did find 47's sleeves flickered around a lot of the time, which couldn't have been easy for him. Oh, this is gonna be a difficult shot. The PS4 camera does also have to stay directly in front of you at all times, so you aren't able to turn your body while playing. This is very restricting, particularly in high action scenes, as you have to rely entirely on the snap turning to look around, which isn't very immersive at all. There are of course loads of brilliant moments too that you can only experience in VR. There's nothing quite like tapping someone on the shoulder and then getting to smack them around the face with a banana. Or after slowly following your target around an entire complex, waiting for that one moment you're finally alone, getting to sneak up behind them and strangling them with your own hands in VR. This time you're mine. I'll kill you! All in all then, I did really like Hitman 3. I just thought it was a bit too pricey given how many levels you got with the game. The VR version of the game though is free with it, so I would recommend giving it a go, but I definitely wouldn't recommend buying a PSVR just to play it. You see, I'm not really into VR, so I'm probably going to steer clear of buying any more VR headsets until they get a little bit more advanced. You know, I wouldn't want to go wasting all my money on a medium that isn't properly ready to produce the games that I actually wanted to play.
Say your line.
I'm just,
say it.
If you say hi again. Like,
Is anyone looking at us?
oh, I should think so. It's a classic. Let's do it! Scared the life out of Sid. Right.
Tornado, like super bad, but loving.
Jesus Christ. Okay, should we go?
Okay.
Can't even see us. Wait. Ow! Every VR game on Steam is an absolute nightmare, part 2. You know, people still ask me, Up Is Not Jump, do you teach chemistry? And I look at them and I say, who the f edited this together? I have 3 new games to review for you today. And like many games on Steam, most of these came out and were immediately banished to the nethers of obscurity. This seems to happen quite regularly on Steam and other game platforms, because they're put out by smaller development teams with little or no budget for marketing. So what have you got for me? Get out of my office, leave the egg. The first game we have perfectly simulates the feeling of hopelessness akin to Steam burying your game in its deepest catacombs on the first day of its release. So we'll just open this up, get the disc nice and snug. There we go. Now Broken Seal is particularly interesting as it starts you off looking at the, Walls of the Dam level in GoldenEye 64. I mean, what is this? Did the makers just photograph a small rock and be like, yeah, we'll just stretch that over a cliff face for the opening shot of the game and no one will know? I can't tell if this is a glitch, this guy's arsehole, or Hogwarts Tower through a f***ing electron microscope. Oh my god, what's happened? The most surprising thing in the game is I have actual arms. Why is that surprising? This is the first VR game I've played where I have real arms, and it's genuinely pretty awesome. But my arms are a little longer than the guy I'm playing in game, so when I extend my reach, I actually pull the sword out of my own hand. Expelliarmus! I actually have an entire body below me, but when I look down, my hair appears and blocks part of my vision, so looking down becomes completely off limits. Do we really need to render my own hair? The game is in a first-person view. Why not go all the way and give me glasses that fall off when I look down and make me go blind? My favorite Half-Life mod. So immersive. It's even worse when I go downstairs. Seriously, why has this been implemented? It's completely useless and causes nothing but problems. Just do what Elite Dangerous did and hope you never catch a glimpse of yourself in a mirror. What is consciousness when one has no face? There's a real mishmash of textures here too. It's completely bizarre. The sky looks great, even better than the space in Elite Dangerous, and that's where it's f***ing set. The trees also look, well, kind of nice, but in front of them are these. What am I looking at? It's like the stomach contents of that woman who eats rocks. I mean, look at this portal. It's not quite as fancy as we're used to, but clearly it goes somewhere nasty. The gates of hell. The river Styx, perhaps. Oh, wait, no, never mind. It's the exit. I'd hate to see the door to the bathrooms. Always a line. This area of the game is mainly just a menu area for creating your character and adjusting the settings to your liking, which is a nice touch. You then enter a portal and that's what takes you to the main game. Okay, now this is more like it. It's strange that the first screen of the game is such a cluster of visual styles, but once you start, it genuinely has really nice atmosphere. Suck it, Dobby, I've killed you again. Oh. Well, he's in hell now. I begin my journey by finding this guy who teaches me a spell, and to use it he says, hold the right trigger and you can see a purple orb. Keep holding when you speak the spell until the magic affected or not. All this guy really means is to use the spell I aim, press the trigger and say out loud the spell I want to use. Alright, here we go.
Fireball.
I mean, a lot happened during that spell, but it definitely works. You see, there are loads of spells in the game which you have to say out loud to use. The Vive has a microphone inside, and the game always correctly identifies what I'm trying to say. Damn it! So the point of this game is to get quests, and then explore the map killing enemies and upgrading your spells, like this one.
Show me your beauty, the silence of death.
Ah, human finally wishes to see the beauty of death.
Wait a minute, fields of enemies and spells that charge and quests with exclamation marks.
No.
For those who don't know, this game is starting to look a lot like World of Borschmaft.
Nailed it.
Warcraft is a life swallower, a time succubus, a wallet muncher. I put more time into honing my character's alchemy in that game than I did my own f***ing chemistry degree.
Then grab a reflux condenser. This'll do.
The game isn't perfect by a long shot, but it's extremely varied and the locations and atmosphere are really compelling. I like how you can hit your shield with your sword, taunting enemies as they approach you.
Come at me, bro.
The lack of polish on this game, however, is quite obvious. The sound is really off for a start, so although the music and the atmosphere is great, the sounds the enemies make aren't directional at all, so it sounds like the enemies are all around you, even when they're just straight ahead. So I keep finding myself turning around to see if there are any enemies behind me.
No enemies here, human. Only your good friend Khajiit. Come closer. Retribution!
There are also huge delays between saying a spell and having it activate, probably because the game is trying to work out if I said fireball or hire hall. Hire it! So you just end up standing in the middle of your house screaming, fireball, 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 fireball. This game also makes you use your hands themselves to select things rather than the tips of the weapons you're holding. So you have to insert your sword into the buttons you want to press until your fingers touch them, like in the last game I reviewed.
Original content.
American Dream is basically an on-rails shooter. This means you stay in one place and shoot objects around you to progress the story. You start off in Captain America's Batcave and ride through the main events of your life in a satirical version of America where guns are used to do literally everything. The first thing I did though was look through the menus and I found an option to select that I was American. But when I selected it, I didn't see any difference.
I keep clicking, but nothing's changing.
Now, we all know what that joke was a reference to. Funny laugh time. The problem here is that American Dream builds its entire foundation on gun jokes. It's the gameplay, the story, the progression, the comedy, the good times, but also the bad. The game's theme very quickly feels heavy-handed and overused. As a political statement, it lacks subtlety, so loses any kind of sinister undertones a dystopian-style satire needs to pack a punch. And as a simple parody with no real intended message, it only exists on a single track. Jesus Christ, Matt, alright, put down the thesaurus.
Okay, fine.
However, as a sort of reverse broken seal, it's polished as The gameplay is smooth, the handling and the reloading of the guns is brilliant, and the graphics are some of the best I've seen on the Vive. I like how when you fire a bullet, it stays in the room and bounces around. So if you fire numerous times, the room fills with floating objects.
Not like this at all.
There are great moments too, like when you get this attachment for your gun and it acts like a hand because you don't have hands because they're guns. It's like the tiny little hand out of Deadpool and it's kind of mesmerizing.
You got me.
The only real technical problem I had with the game is that there were several audio clips that would sometimes start playing over themselves. Like when you're playing catch with your dad.
Baseball player kept turning lights on and off. Oh well, he was. It's okay. That's okay.
What did you say, Dad?
I said,
I sure am having a good time.
Prostitute.
I also got notifications of achievements flashing up on the screen whenever I did absolutely anything. Fire a gun, ding. Look to the left, ding. Spill your coffee on yourself. thing. It also seems like you're meant to play this game sitting down, and because you stay in one place most of the time, you don't really explore the world yourself, which means this game is sort of missing some of what makes VR special. And it's ironic as given the game's themes, but I just want to shoot some people, or robots, just something, because shooting cardboard gives you no real feedback, no feeling you're making a satisfying impact.
You hear that? Life-size cutout of Jim Carrey? I don't want to hurt you.
Getting to the carnival, though, was one of the scariest damn experiences of my life. What are you all looking at? Well, won't any of you say anything? Oh God, one's coming over, save me, Jim! Die!
I don't think Mummy knows you're hungry. Maybe you should shoot at the door to get her attention.
Mummy. Dog. Gun. Wait, something's coming back to me. But how is this possible?
I replaced the red ink last week.
Oh, okay.
Duck Season is a VR remake of sorts of the NES game Duck Hunt. You shoot rounds of ducks that fly by and get a score at the end of each round based on how many your dog friend collects.
What is this beast you have befriended, human? It strikes fear into the heart of Khajiit.
I bought this for him too, Sid.
Oh, the horror.
It's also significantly shorter and less varied than the American Dream. What you're seeing now is most of the combat-based gameplay, but that's because this is just the cookie holding in the delicious ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
A distraction, if you will. The real appeal is the game's presentation, its atmosphere, the story. It makes you feel like Batman. Wait, it makes you feel like a kid at home with your mum on a lazy Saturday. You can watch VHS tapes, play different games, f around with your toys. You aren't limited to wildly shooting about, and it builds a real connection between you and your character. And at least you don't shoot cardboard.
You can look again, Jim.
When you start the duck hunting section of the game, you suddenly find yourself inside the television. Just like you as a kid, there's nothing else in the world. No distractions, just you and your TV.
They're showing Power Rangers. Ow!
I mean, you've got some pretty up hands, but something else isn't quite right. Something's off here. And as the game progresses, it gets stranger and more unusual. Just watching this kid fire a gun is so much more impactful than anything that happens in American Dream, because everything else going on in Duck Season is seemingly normal.
So Sid, how was your day?
Alien Isolation VR is an absolute nightmare.
You know what, actually, that's probably a bit much. Let's put that outside. Now that that abomination is gone from our house, but never from our hearts, we can remember that Halloween is a time to come together as one, dress as our favourite villains, and eat our body weight in chocolate. Isn't that right, Sid? So cats can't eat Kit Kats. The world we live in.
What are you doing, human?
Alien Isolation is a horror game everyone really likes, except maybe this guy. But its VR counterpart has been through quite a terrifying process to get it ready for playing in VR. You see, prior to its release in 2014, Alien Isolation was teased at E3 as being VR compatible.
Aliens Isolation. Aliens Isolation.
Aliens Isolation.
And this was an enormous deal, even bigger than when Hooker Chemical was purchased by Occidental Petroleum.
Ah, good times.
Around this time, the most advanced VR headset on the market was the Oculus DK2, which I will humorously refer to as the Oculus Donkey Kong 2. This headset was, while functional, still under development. We didn't have the overwhelmingly advanced and groundbreaking equipment we have today, like the Vive, or the Index, or the Catbot.
Drop me and die, human.
There were also very few full-length AAA games available for VR. I mean, let's face it, there still really aren't any. So at the time, the VR release of this game was a big deal, like when Unilever purchased National Starch and Chemical in 1970. Shut up! Gamers were excited. Cats were nonplussed. I had no opinions as I thought VR was an underdeveloped medium, so didn't have a headset yet. Unfortunately, when the game was released, it was missing its VR option, and so the 24 millionaires who actually had an Oculus at the time were mildly annoyed. But really, as disappointment about the Alien series goes, this was pretty mild. It wasn't all that bad, of course. Alien Isolation itself was subtle, refined, demure. rip out my eyes so I don't have to watch! I mean, yes, it made you your pants, but in a dignified manner. Like when a cat shits. Many people say the game takes a long time to get started just because no real threats turn up right away, but I feel like the game uses its opening few hours to appropriately immerse you into the environment and establish an unsettling tone that is consistent throughout the whole game. Okay, here we go, we're gonna sneak past. I guess I win, rather than just relying on having a spooky monster that jumps out of a closet every now and again. The pacing also lets you get friendly with these human-shaped bags of red liquid that are inevitably going to get turned inside out by the walking penis monster of the hour. I mean, Geraldo here, getting his eyes pulled out of his arsehole later on, is meaningless without a good bit of character development. I love it when my retinas are attached to the inside of my head. It's all the more tragic now. So at some point or another, Sega or Creative Assembly obviously decided to scrap the VR version of the game and it became lost forever. But not really. Reddit caught wind of this, focused their efforts, and after hundreds and hundreds of hours of unpaid volunteering and hard work, they helped end world hunger. No, they got the game working. They cracked it open and pulled the VR version out by its juicy bits. As far as I can make out, the general framework for Alien Isolation VR was still in the released version of the game, and it just required some divine skills of a couple dozen Mr. Robots to get it out. And so they did, hopefully without the need for heroin. There's a lot to be said about the journey Alien Isolation VR went on from its first release on the DK2 to now, but it's not really all that relevant to this review. What I will say is getting the game to run passably in VR definitely wasn't just a simple job of finding some code in the game and switching it on. It was a long and winding road, headed by the living genius and modder Zach Fannin. Everything aside, the VR version of this game is a free mod, and once you've downloaded it, it installs itself in seconds, is fully customizable within the game, and is definitely worth trying out. It isn't perfect, and I will discuss the issues as we go through, but whatever I say, whatever I did, I didn't mean it. But I said I didn't mean it. No, whatever I say, he has done some truly unbelievable work. So, what is the game like now? What is the result of all these years of hard work and dedication? It's f***ing horrible. It's the most unpleasant game I've ever played in my life. It makes Silent Hill look like Zootopia, Amnesia like Home Alone, Resident Evil like Finding Nemo. Actually, that one was pretty scary. Let me explain. I was once playing SKYRIM VR and merrily walking down a path at night. Suddenly, there was a noise in the bushes. I looked around, confused. A shadowy figure suddenly emerged, sprinting straight towards me. Shia LaBeouf. No, it's not him. It's that f***ing courier. Shia surprise. No, but I swear to you, I Shia shat myself. And that's the power of VR. Because you're totally immersed within the game, everything that happens is all the more convincing. Terrifying. I mean, all he really wanted to do was give me a little note that says, "We know." Although, let's face it, that's hardly a normal thing to send a giant human cat person, is it?
Who could have sent this?
Your time is coming, human.
Can you imagine what it would have been like if instead it was one of these running full pelt at me through the tranquil nights of Skyrim? My worst fears have been realized! You may notice I'm not reviewing the game exactly. And honestly, it's because for the first few hours, I could barely play it. When I play a game that I'm going to review, I usually stream it. But for the first few hours, I kept instinctively dropping to the floor whenever a light switched off. Honestly, it's a good thing someone didn't tap me on the shoulder while I was playing this game, or I may have overreacted slightly. As I've said, VR automatically has an advantage in horror, as you are very convincingly in this world that for some reason has strawberry jam all over everything. But as you can imagine, just sharing a room with this fully three-dimensional hulking dildo monster really takes the cake. So keeping that in mind, with VR, all you would theoretically need to do is make a few rooms, drop in a giant vagina monster with legs into one of them, and you would have a scary experience. Although maybe that says more about me than anything else.
I've had worse days.
Alien Isolation VR, though, is a far more impressive horror game than this, for various reasons.
I've had worse days.
The standout feature of this game is that the xenomorph isn't really treated like a boss monster at all. It's basically its own character that you have to learn to understand. It has a personality, if not a very specific one, and it organically explores the station with what seems like its own free will. You can't predict where it's going to go next, and honestly, it sometimes feels like it's going about its business, and I'm just getting in the f***ing way. All that guy did was ask what time it was. As a result, you find that you're always moving around slowly, checking every corner, and making as little noise as possible. You learn quickly that with this kind of behavior, you'll never get caught.
Oh, for f***'s sake!
The game's focus on stealth makes it perfectly suited for playing in VR, mainly because you yourself are able to lean around corners, quickly check what's behind you while you walk, and peek over tables to see what is in the room ahead. It honestly leads to a hilariously engaging and immersive experience.
Who would describe this as hilarious?
But it isn't just that. Take this for example. You are passing through a room thinking about where to go next. Suddenly you hear a noise. You scan the area for cover and see a nearby table. Quietly you move towards it, climb under, and wait. Suddenly the noise gets louder, closer. You see as the monster comes into view, it walks past you through the room with its tail trailing along the ground. Ooh. Alien Isolation is filled with classic moments like these, and they are perfect homages to the slasher movies that first inspired the Alien series. Homages, homan. You get to watch as the giant three-dimensional tail slithers past, nearly touching you. You get to lean forward and peek through a grating to see if anything's coming. All in all, it's incredibly fun and something you won't quickly forget. Don't worry, I didn't need to sleep tonight anyway. It also made me realize we don't give nearly enough credit to the characters in horror movies or scary games. All these people fighting for their lives against that week's pulsating Spider Christ or Scorpion King. Let's face it, if I was in this situation with an acid-filled hard-on monster and whatever in Christ's name is going on there, I'd give up all hope, slather myself in hot sauce and run around banging pots and pans together with my eyes closed. Eat me! Eat me! You expect me to what? Hide in a f***ing locker? Nah man, I'm going out tasting of Chipotle. The first thing people will probably notice when they play this game is that although the Vive and Oculus controllers can be used to play, they aren't actually tracked within the game world. So you can't use them to manually aim or reach out and interact with objects like you can in most VR games. Let's be honest though, I'm only complaining about this because it means in times of high stress I can't heroically block out the world with my tiny arms. Oh, that's better. You will also probably notice that in the VR version of the game, you have a rendered body floating below you the whole time. So when you look down, you're actually looking inside yourself and see an ominous pair of unattached legs floating about.
Use me in your videos more, boy.
There's nothing there, there's nothing there, there's nothing there. A similar but far more problematic thing occurs when you interact with objects, like crawling into vents, saving your game, or even entering cutscenes that you view in the first person. These actions cause your body in the game and the camera itself to start moving around without your control. It would be like if you were having a normal conversation and your body was just doing things without your consent. And this can be massively disorientating and nausea-inducing. It is particularly bad in certain in-game cutscenes like this one that start when you're close to a wall, because your head invariably starts moving into the scenery, making your view go completely black. I mean, I'm missing this now. Some kind of important and definitely friendly interaction could be going on out there. Hand-holding, hugging, a respectful discussion of quantum fluctuations of magnetic dipoles in resonance imaging. Couldn't agree on the nuclear spin states, I see. A common hurdle. What am I talking about? Honestly though, I play quite a lot of VR weird flex, so rarely get that sick anymore. My major problem with this mod is whenever I read a computer monitor. You see, your character sort of hunkers down to the screen, which is fine. But as far as I can make out, these screens you read are just the in-game monitors that have been zoomed in on. This gives these computer screens a very low resolution, making them incredibly unpleasant to read. Help me! You can turn up the in-game graphics quality, which helps, but honestly, past a certain point, it sounds like my computer is filling up with bees. Although I've just made a lot of complaints, these honestly don't come together to ruin the experience for me at all. The game itself is so well designed and fun to play, it's very easy for me to overlook these issues. As well as this, and I can't emphasize this more, the quality of the 3D graphics, on the Index at least, are absolutely stunning, and it's honestly one of the best looking VR games I've ever played. The lighting and art design as well are practically faultless and a perfect homage to the earlier movies, not this one. And for me, seeing the Alien universe come to life in full working virtual reality makes the whole experience worthwhile. You see, when it's all said and done, I'd say the biggest appeal of VR for me is being able to see and interact with my favorite characters and settings in fully realized 3D. Elite Dangerous gave me the stars, the Lab showed me GLaDOS, Fallout 4 gave me whatever it was that was good about that game, and Skyrim had the Jarl. I can give this an 11, right?
It's free real estate.
No, it's fine. Christmas VR games are an absolute nightmare. Part 1.
Ah, it's Christmas again. You can smell it in the... Wait, what is that? Fire tree! Fire tree! It smells like Christmas spirit. It's on fire again, isn't it?
As a kid, getting games at Christmas time was literally crack for me.
It's a beautiful time. Oh, for God's sake!
Unfortunately, Christmas morning isn't always perfect for a gamer expecting his next big adventure. As with anything sweet comes the sour, the spectre at the feast, the Brutus to my Julius. Et tu, Fallout 76.
I'm, of course, talking about Christmas games.
Today I'm going to demonstrate the true terror of receiving a Christmas game during the holidays by playing and reviewing every Christmas-themed virtual reality game I can find on Steam. For those wondering how I found the games, I searched for the word Christmas under VR titles. Unorthodox, I know.
So, let's get started, and I can confirm I will be wearing this jumper the entire video.
Oh, yes. Come cheer up, my lads, 'tis to glory we steer.
to find something new in this world.
We begin with Santa's visit. The goal of this game is to simply search through the house and find out what each member of the family is into, and then give them a present that matches their interests. You have a whole load of different gifts you can pick for each family member, and you can play with each of them at any time. Okay, here we go, a clue. Little Timmy seems to like floaty things.
They all float down here, Timmy.
There you go, Timmy. Just try not to recreate the Hindenburg disaster by way of your father's personal property. Honestly, playing around with all the toys is pretty fun, and they're all very well implemented into VR. Overall, it's a simple game, and as a result, a tad pricey for what it is. But sit back, boys. This game was only made last month, and we're going backwards chronologically through these games. Things are gonna get much worse. Ignite Food Fight. Christmas? I actually had quite a lot to say about this game, but when reviewing the script, I didn't think any of it was that funny, so I cut it all out. Sue me. Sleigh Runner by Retro Bullet. Speaking of suing someone. Okay, here we go. This actually looks like a proper Christmas game. Festive and calm. You can't just drop me off 300 miles an hour on a frozen freeway. You gotta ease me into this Is that a B-plane? We got a 1016 on the freeway. Numerous casualties have been confirmed. Take out Santa. Repeat, take out Santa. The goal of this game is to collect presents as you travel down a 3-lane motorway, and it sort of loops infinitely from there. The problem is this game hasn't been properly optimized for VR, so everything appears like you're looking for a fishbowl. The movement is way too fast and erratic. The presents fall through the map, so you can't actually collect them. The numbers on your dashboard have almost no relevance to anything that's going on. Oh God, no! I'm dead. I'm dead. Santa Simulator. This game was made by Toast VR. You know, Toast. This game actually looks pretty good, or maybe I'm just going peculiar. The animations on the reindeer are fairly detailed, and all the scenery around me looks fairly impressive. The house behind me, not so much, but hey, we're not supposed to look back there, so let's run with it. In this game, we fly around and deliver presents to houses that pass by. Ho, ho. Oh no, I really hope that wasn't the puppy.
Cajitas. Oh, you wish everything's a dead dog, Sid. It's getting weird.
We actually throw the presents into giant chimneys that stick out of office buildings. It's all a bit questionable, really. I worked in an office for a long time, and I assure you, Marjorie here would not have put up with this kind of draping out of her office wall. I'll give you a f***ing whole press. I mean, this chimney is cut into part of a window. Who was the architect here? Carl Baru? The game is full of odd details like this. Giant footballs, animal abuse, temperate thermoclines, and before you know it, it's over. Are those bats? The only thing I have to add here is the speed that you can throw presents into chimneys is limited only by the rate they respawn after you've thrown one. So to get the highest score possible, I cleverly stockpiled presents as I travel. Why must I play God? So there we have it, Santa Simulator. This game doesn't look much like other things you've played in the past. Well, what's that supposed to mean?
I've never been more insulted in my life.
Next game, Tippy Tree. Tippy Tree is a game where you put Christmas decorations on a tree. If you load up one side too much, the tree gets imbalanced, falls over, and you lose.
Christmas is over.
My main criticism of Tippy Tree is the ground and the tree are both programmed like a Bethesda game, so they just keep randomly colliding with each other when you try to add stuff, causing the tree to bounce up and down, and I'm almost certain that this is not intentional. Let's face it though, this is clearly a very casual game, and it only costs $1.69, so I can't really say much. Speaking of 69 though, brace yourselves, it's time for the main event. Puzzle of Santa Girl VR. Oh, I've really messed up this time. The first thing you'll notice is that on the game's Steam page, the text in the trailer is blurred. No, we can't have blurring now. We haven't even started the game yet. Made by Studio Thug Life. Oh God. So we'll just install this. Need assistance? Yes, please. Someone save me. Okay, let's start.
Oh, I'm getting Christmas sweats. Can someone pass me the eggnog? Sid, no!
Nog, 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 nog.
There are 3 possible games. In the first game, you watch a video where the female enters, then exits these doors. You then have to use this information to work out which of these doors leads where. Well, don't they know it's f***ing Christmas? Ignoring the obvious issues here, this game is not in VR. None of this appears in 3D. You aren't in this room. This girl doesn't exist, and so for the first time ever, your VR headset really is just a TV strapped to your face. Also, when I describe this as a room, I think I'm again being rather generous. What is this place? There are 3 separate doors, one of which apparently goes to the Shadow Realm, 2 inexplicably placed shower curtains, and an air conditioning unit, because clearly it's hot in purgatory. If you try the second game, another video will play, but this time you have to count the number of times the girl jumps out at you.
Sid, help me, please.
This on its own is fairly inoffensive, but each time she comes and goes, the entire room completely shifts around you, 2 separate times every time. It would be like if every time Emma left a room, the entire house deviated by 4 feet with me standing in it. In the third game, you watch her dance in one outfit, then in a second outfit, and have to choose what was different between the 2 outfits. In most cases, you're given as many possible options as there were actual clothes changes, so you just pick all 4 and you automatically win. What has happened here today? Will future historians look back at this moment and judge us unfairly? Neck pain, not in 3D, slow paced, bad visuals, worse music, the rewards rewards for winning are photos of the girl in outfits we've already seen. This is not only the most expensive game on our list, it may be the worst game I've ever played. I've actually thought about it, and I think I could make this game. Seriously, let's do it. Start the jazz.
You found me.
Snowmania.
I don't know.
In Soviet Russia, holiday kills you. Let's be honest though, I'm just happy to be back playing a game. In Snowmania, there are several stalls laid out, each of which allows you to select a different minigame, like Save the Kitty. From who? This guy? Looks innocent to me. In this minigame, we have to stop the cat from falling off a building. Merry Christmas, children. What is going on here? Who engineered this situation? Was it the cat? Does he need emotional reassurance?
Sid, think of the coin.
Kajita sold his last wares.
No!
Well, he's safe now. Somehow. This game is actually quite good if a little overpriced, and has several pretty varied minigames. It has a horror section that scarred me for life, a bow and arrow game that works perfectly fine, and a roller coaster that made me so unbelievably sick it ruined the rest of my day. VR theme park rides. This is a game where you exclusively ride around in roller coasters, but it's all in VR.
Oh no.
There are a lot of different rides in this game, but I think only one is Christmas themed, so we're just gonna ride that one and move on.
Oh, thank God.
There are 12 normal rides, but there is a dedicated Christmas section where there is only 12 Christmas rides.
It's happening.
I can't imagine it matters where we start, so let's just go to the Angry Octopus ride. Oh no. Oh no.
It goes backwards.
It goes backwards! Let's try something else. Of all of these, the bumper cars is probably the best option, because if you can actually control the ride, it will make you feel less sick when you're playing. I'm not controlling this car, this is all just happening. Yep, just rolling around, bumping into no one. At least Santa's having a good time. Laugh it up, Santa! Okay, how about Castle of Terror? Sounds Christmassy. What would you like for Christmas, young man? Some skin? This ride is a lot better than the last two, as it's a lot slower, but it still makes me very sick. You see, I play a lot of VR weird flex, but these locomotion-based experiences are so badly suited for the medium, even I can't play them. And I'm great. This game is $3, but even if it was free, I still don't think I could recommend it. And it's quite sad, because clearly quite a lot of hard work has gone into this game. I must have sinned real bad in a previous life to deserve this. Quizality! Thank God it's a quiz game. I know it's a strange concept for VR, but at least I don't have to ride in any more roller coasters. I hate it. In this game, you ride around in a Christmas-themed world and answer questions as you go. There's also this strange noise that plays when the sled is moving around, and it's driving me completely insane. What is that? Running water? Am I gonna capsize through the ground any moment and drown? God, I hope so. And that's the end. Nailed it. VR snowballs. Listen to that music. The first thing I noticed opening this game up was its trailer had a mouse cursor on screen through the entire thing. 2 minutes it sits there anyway. Let's go! One miss and you lose. Okay. Okay.
And there before the grace of God go I. Never did he fail. Never did he fall. Would you shut up?
In this game, a number of floating snowballs appear in each level, and all you have to do is shoot each of them once without ever missing. As you get further through the game, the balls get faster and harder to hit.
Instead of shooting where I was, you should have shot at where I was going to be.
It has a certain appeal, as you have to be totally accurate at all times, which I'm kind of into. But honestly, Space Pirate Trainer is a similar sort of game, and while it's twice the price, it's 100,000 times better. I mean, they say don't eat the yellow snow, but you definitely shouldn't eat the red snow. I honestly didn't hate this game, but it's way too expensive for what it is. Naughty or nice? Depends who's asking. In this game, we stand outside Santa's toy factory and slingshot colored presents into the corresponding color of bag. If you get it right, the child is listed as nice. If you miss, it's assumed you did it on purpose and they're listed as naughty.
I alone possess the power to decide the fate of every child on Earth. I must use this power wisely.
Die, Santa! I ended up just trying to ricochet the presents off of Santa into the right bag every time to try and add some challenge to the game. Eventually he falls over, plays the Ryu death noise, and doesn't get back up. But I'm sure he'll wake up soon. Santa, don't do this to me! Tornuffalo! Having friends over for a VR party? Craftmas! This game is like Minecraft VR, but it has a Christmas theme. If I talk about this enough, I'll finally start trending on YouTube Gaming like all the other really creative YouTubers. Really though, this is a game about making decorations for Christmas trees. Well, maybe I'll trend on Mum's net. Other than that, like all the other games, there isn't really much to it. You basically draw out a decoration, then when you're finished, you can place it on your tree. You can control the color or even the size of your pen, so you can make your decorations as girthy as you like. There, an exact replica of Uranium-238. Now all that's left is to put it on our tree. Oh no, it's unstable. It's Chernobyl all over again! Holiday Simulator. Stop!
You violated the law. What is happening here? My hands are automatically swapped. The reindeers are just two-dimensional cardboard cutouts that move up and down. The level is visibly appearing in front of me. And the music. This game is pretty much identical to Santa Simulator, but it's a lot worse. The main difference is you can also throw hunks of coal at the naughty children's houses rather than only giving them presents. And abusing the animals is a lot less satisfying. Santa Sling. I thought we already played this. The game opens up with the ghost of Santa appearing, then disappearing just as quickly. It's like Santa's seen the game already. I gotta get out of here. We are then told to grab a present to begin, but for whatever reason that doesn't work and the game never starts. Merry Christmas. This, of course, all goes on underneath the ominous gaze of a giraffe that is clearly experiencing some kind of existential crisis. The jolly meter is full. Looks like this is broken as well. Merry snowballs. Jesus Christ, what's happened to Santa? His snowballs aren't looking that merry. In this game, we throw or shoot snowballs at neighborhood kids who are throwing snowballs at us. The music and the art design is great, and the gameplay is honestly pretty satisfying and very well designed. It even has high scores, which gives the game some replayability. And look, all the world leaders are here. Gandhi, Chairman Mao, pesky cashew, must be Putin. You win tickets as you play, and these let you unlock better weapons, like the rockets, which make it much easier to... I hate Santa. What? Oddly, this game is quite a lot like Merry Snowballs, in which you shoot snowballs at enemies that are running around a neighborhood. The trailer for this game, though, that's the real winner here. Not only is it pretty high quality, but we have all these fully grown adults talking very seriously about what is very clearly a game for children.
Big deal. VR is all about being immersive.
Big deal. I don't even know how to drive. What's this? The accelerator? The brake? Let's go.
Idiots didn't even send me the game. Unbelievable.
Santa, what have they done to you?
And there we go, we're finished. What did you think, Sid?
Enjoy your last Christmas, human.
Before we finish though, it's really important to remember that the people who made these games have undoubtedly worked extremely hard on them. Making any kind of game is an insanely difficult and complex undertaking, and something I personally know I would never be able to do myself. Ever. Every game, every project we've looked at today will lead to these developers making an even better game next time, and that is the spirit of Christmas. Wait, what?
Happy holidays, you miserable what did I mean to say? I meant to say beautiful.
Christmas VR games are an absolute nightmare. Part 2.
It's Christmas. Must buy presents. Sold out. But it's November. I filmed this scene in November. What are you gonna do? Look, I just have no idea what to get Dad. An ice cream maker? Mum, he's a diabetic. No, an insulin kit is a terrible present.
Must go out and buy gifts. Whole family in need of love in the form of monetary value.
It was at that moment he knew he'd f***ed up.
Must buy presents for family and create a loving and peaceful Christmas.
I just hope Grandma doesn't send me her bra size again. Hello? Oh, thanks. There's no stamp on this, though. I guess there's time to see what this is. The shops will be open. Oh. Right. So it's that time of year again. And you know what I learned in 2020? It's that festive singing drowns out the screams. Deck the halls with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. La 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 la, 'tis the season to be jolly. So for Christmas this year, I was going to review Cyberpunk 77, but apparently having 1 million subscribers on YouTube holds about as much weight as a pile of feathers, so I didn't get a review copy. Last year, I reviewed every Christmas-themed VR game on Steam, and you all showed moderate interest. So I thought, what better time than now to try again? First of all, let's see what new Christmas VR games have come out on Steam since my last video. So we'll go on to Steam, search Christmas, VR only. So as it turns out, only 2 new Christmas games came out this year, but we'll just review both of these and see what happens. The first of these games is called...
Chained, a Victorian Nightmare.
Excuse me, sir, would you like a lozenge? I have many.
This is actually more of a 3D movie than a game, but not a bad one by any means. As you can probably guess, it's loosely based on Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. This is the first guy you meet in the game, and in line with the book, it's your creepy undead business partner. But honestly, to me, his hair is more terrifying than anything else about him.
I wish you luck.
Thank you. He talks about how unsurprisingly unpleasant it is to be dead, warns us we'll be visited by 3 spirits, and then smoke bombs out of there. We then meet our first main ghost in a pretty spectacular introduction.
I know you.
Who, me? This is of course the Ghost of Christmas Past, and it's hard not to love her general design. The lighting effects produced around her are particularly great, but the way she speaks gets incredibly boring.
I was born. One instant. After you, I will die.
We see in a flashback that we had a pretty terrible childhood, which is what led us to be so isolated later in life. This scene is very slow due to the dialogue, but the ending makes it worthwhile with an impressive sequence of chains attaching to you and demons coming closer towards you. Once this lesson is over, the spirit says her final warnings and she leaves.
My time has come and gone.
We then meet the Ghost of Christmas Present. Oh God, all over the floor!
I am the ghost of Christmas.
He's only on screen for about half a minute, so he doesn't really do anything more significant than making a huge mess.
Alright, bye, thanks.
The Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come then arrives, looking more like a Mylurk King from Fallout 3 than anything else, slowly walks towards us for a full minute, and then points at our grave, ending the flash forward. We then wake up from our overtly vague nightmare, having learnt nothing more significant than the fact that this game was made by a team of people that includes Western Gaylord, Ryan Cummings, and Jesus. Overall then, visuals-wise, I think this game is pretty good. The problem is this whole movie is no more than 20 minutes long, so who you are, the evils you have committed, and the consequences of what will happen if you don't change your ways isn't really properly explored. This combined with the slow voice acting makes it difficult to get drawn in by the story.
So the final game we have from Steam is called Greetings from Krampus. Though it does look disturbingly like a Sopranos box set.
In this game, you build a snowman out of different parts the game gives you. This may sound pretty boring, and that's because it is. What the hell have I just made?
Some people are worth melting for.
The game's presentation, however, is honestly fantastic. The visuals are really nicely stylized, all the menus are fully interactable in imaginative ways, and there's a glowing tutorial box floating around teaching you how to play.
Careful, you might run out of those.
And that's it with games from Steam. The thing is now, where are we going to find more VR games we can play about Christmas? I've got it.
It's gotta be here somewhere. Is it behind this? Where? What have I... Oh, God.
Aha! Here we go. So this is my old Vive, and it's covered in tape for some reason. So this is my old Vive that I used to use to review games, and it actually has its own store called Viveport, which hosts its own unique games. So if we go onto it, we find Snow Fortress, which is almost Christmassy.
Remember to use your wrist straps.
I think you'll find I know a little bit about how to use it.
In this game, you build walls of ice and snow to protect you from waves of snowmen coming to attack you. You can also fight off the snowmen by throwing snowballs at them. Overall, this one isn't too bad, though it is extremely expensive. Everything is nice and colourful, and the throwing and building mechanics work really well. I particularly like how you're given specific shaped pieces of snow and ice and have to put them together strategically like it's Tetris. You even have a talking fairy friend to help you along the way.
Hey there, I'm Fox.
Which gives us the perfect excuse to awkwardly segue to my one.
Khajiit has no purpose in life.
And I'm dead inside.
There is actually a tower defense mode where you can build your fort from above. You can even add snowmen to attack the incoming waves of enemies for you. This is quite a nice touch as it uses all the same mechanics as the previous mode, but adds an entirely new branch of gameplay to things.
And that's the Vive done. It does remind me though, Oculus 2 has its own store with a whole host of unique games. I just have to get my hands on an Oculus. So this is the Quest 2, and it's honestly pretty amazing, given it was produced by the worst entity in the universe, and in that I include the Combine, who are effectively a multi-dimensional race of Nazi slavers.
It's like Stalinism somehow inventing sliced bread.
You see, the Oculus Quest 2 headset doesn't need a computer to run games. It's all stored in here. It doesn't even need stations to track your position in a room like most VR headsets do. It uses these cameras on the front of the headset to keep track of where you are in a room and whereabouts you're moving.
There's even a microphone inside. But don't worry, nobody's monitoring you. Nobody's monitoring you.
This also means you can actually see where you are in a room even when you're wearing the headset, as it gives you a black and white display of the room. So no more headbutting surfaces.
Ow.
The strap it comes with though might as well be a pair of underwear for all the comfort and support it provides. So if you're going to use the Quest 2 for any amount of time, there's another mandatory £50 added to its price tag.
Anyway, now that you know what this is, we're ready to go into its store and see what kind of Christmas games we can find. So we'll just go into the search area and we'll type Christmas. Oh no.
Okay, so after some searching, the only game I could find available for this headset that was even vaguely Christmassy was this snow-themed roller coaster game. Comfort? Intense? My goodness.
So Matt, you comfy? Intensely.
So I load up the game, and as it turns out, you can select different types of carts. So I of course take Santa in his sleigh. See, now we're getting somewhere. Let's do it. Oh, it's just awful. In this game, we're seated in a roller coaster as we ride around a winter-themed track, but it's so nauseating it's completely unplayable. Things really start getting bad towards the end of the level, so I turned to Santa for moral support, but he just sat there with the same blank stare on his face, visibly haunted by the memories of his dead wife. Oh, look, a bear, brilliant. Remember the bears in Skyrim? Just so you know, they make that exact same sound. So not only did I have to pay for this horrendous experience, but here I find they're even stealing assets from Bethesda. Suddenly I like this game a lot more. All in all, this level itself isn't actually that bad. You are certainly getting your money's worth with the amount of going on screen. The issue is though, this whole level is only about 2 minutes long and it's way too nauseating for anyone to realistically see to the end.
Oh. So you may think that's it for Oculus products, but the Oculus store actually has more games on it. You just can't play them on this headset.
If you go to the Oculus website and select the Rift, which is Oculus's more powerful headset, we can see there's a whole load of Christmas games available. To play these on the Quest though, we need to link it to a PC, but don't worry, it only costs £89.
Now I get this, it's okay, it's fine. The Quest 2 isn't technologically capable of playing these more advanced Rift games. We can't argue, that's the way it is. Bullshit.
I've played all these games and some of them must require as much processing power as a PowerPoint presentation. Canon VR, for example, looks more like the South Park game from 1998. The Quest 2 has the Walking Dead game on it, for God's sake.
Now to play all these games, I could just get an Oculus Rift, but I'm 30 now. It's not like Santa's gonna send me one. Thank you, Space Santa.
You're welcome, young man. Ha 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 ha.
As I say, I've played all these extra games and they're all pretty simple, so we're just going to focus on this one. What a joyous time. Pagan Peak is about trying to escape a serial killer called the Krampus Killer. It counts as a Christmas game because in European folklore, the Krampus is some kind of anti-Santa figure who goes around punishing naughty children rather than giving out presents. He's also horrifying. I mean, what is happening here? I did this. The game opens up with us on our way to a cabin in the woods to meet a stranger from the internet. Oh, I'm sure this is going to end fine. The tone is established using dark and simplistic visuals that, for me, really add to the atmosphere. Unsurprisingly, you crash your car, wake up in a cabin, and you have to solve puzzles to try and escape. Oh god. Oh god. You see, this is never a good sign.
I really hope the neighbours don't see this.
Overall then, I really like this game. The sound and music is particularly great and had me totally on edge the whole time. The tensions kept high with night eventually falling and people with masks starting to circle the building, tapping on the windows, brandishing weapons, and just generally being assholes. There must be a weapon around here somewhere. Aha! Here we go.
Careful.
Die, Krampus! As you explore the cabin more, you'll also find information about other murders that relate to the Krampus Killer. Wait. The second victim is a social media star.
But I just installed TikTok. What are you doing? We're fumigating your house. You really shouldn't be here.
Human's time has finally come.
And there you have it, folks. Turns out it was all just a horrible pesticide-induced fever dream. But look on the upside. At least we got to review the Rift. Oh, sake. So Merry Christmas, you beautiful f***s. I hope this year hasn't been the worst year of your life. Thanks for watching, and now a word from our sponsor.
Half-Life 2 VR is an absolute nightmare.
Me and Emma dyed our hair, and now we both accidentally look like Team Rocket. Pose, pose, pose. I mean, it's kinda cool, I guess.
Okay, let's begin.
Rise and shine, Mr. Jump. Rise and shine. Not that I wish to imply you've been sleeping on the job. No one is more deserving of a rest. And all the effort in the world would have gone to waste until, well, let's just say your hour has come again. I was having this awful dream where the world was being run by this evil group of dictators that controlled our every action while also needlessly destroying the planet, all for their own personal gain.
Half-Life 2A. Released in 1974 by everyone's favourite game developer Fawcett, it pushed the boundaries in what we believed card-based games could do. No, not really. Half-Life 2 is a first-person shooter where you play as Gordon Freeman, a big science nerd who is into theoretical physics and bashing out brains with a crowbar.
Speaking of scientists, I thought I'd dress up a little bit. And I thought things could use a little bit more life.
As a youth, I didn't play Half-Life 1 or 2, so I don't really have any nostalgia for this series. I do think they're very good though, okay? You can drop the pitchforks. But since these games are most famous for pushing the boundaries of what was possible at the time, if you play them today, you've missed the pushing of the boundaries, and all you have to document that they've moved are the skid marks on the floor. I mean, rave all you like about how revolutionary the Beatles were. Listen to them nowadays and it sounds like someone's bashing a tambourine in one ear and talking in reverse in the other. I actually do like the Beatles too, so again, drop the forks.
But what makes this series truly great is how perfectly its story is told. And quality storytelling, it ages like a fine wine.
In Half-Life 1, a dimensional rift opens and the base you are in is subjected to a cavalcade of kooky critters. The intrigue that pulls the story along, though, is not only where these monsters came from and who sent them, but their fabulous morphology. We have psychic powers, unique ways of hunting, transformative effects, and a near illegal similarity to the creatures from Abe's Odyssey.
Now, I'm not saying that anyone deserves to be sued because of this, but something does need to be done. I at least deserve some money for pointing it out.
In Half-Life 2, said invasions have gone a bit further and a full takeover of Earth is now happening by a much more calculating group called the Combine. The story here, though, is even more ripe and juicy. Because sure, the Combine are taking over Earth, but who are they? They weren't in the first game. Did they come through the rift later? And these aren't aliens. These are humans who have been changed in some way to fit the Combine's needs. But what did the Combine do to them and how did they— oh yes, and you see you're in. Let me at this game, I have to finish it. See, what Valve have done is build a world with all this information already worked out. But the goal of the game isn't to convey this information to you. This isn't f***ing Star Wars.
Master, sir, I heard Yoda talking about midichlorians. I've been wondering, what are midichlorians?
Seriously, this dialogue is so bad, it sounds like it's coming from a Fallout 4 conversation choice. The factions in Half-Life 2 have their past and motives, but they don't outright tell you what they are. They're too busy getting on with things, and it makes for an incredibly convincing story. It's more the Game of Thrones style, before the Season 8 cataclysm. You know, Littlefinger would never have just told Bran that he was planning on double-crossing Bane. It would have just confused things. So, some incredible modders who are all smarter, more talented, and just generally better humans than me took Half-Life 2 and made it run in VR. And the quality of this free mod is a lot better than some other first-person poopy VR games that are poopy. So making games that work really well in VR is an absolute nightmare because the experience is so full-on that any minor issues become glaringly obvious. Show them what it's like, live-action past me. Thank you, me from the past.
It is also very important to note that this game is still in its beta, so any issues I'm going to talk about have most likely been fixed in the 7 years it took me to edit this video together. I mean, look, it's Gordon Freeman riding a unicycle. This takes time, man. So, I am going to focus a lot on the negatives about this game, like I usually do, but this is one of the best VR games out there, so take everything I'm saying with a pinch of salt. And so I've split this nightmarish endeavor into 3 things that VR developers basically need to get perfect or it causes big issues. 1. Smoothness and crispness. This is all about how the game looks in VR, so obviously it's very important. And the standout feature of this mod is how smooth the frame rate is and how crisp the visuals are. I'm happy to say that it's all basically perfect. It really feels like you're there. What? Me? But I'm... Oh wait, no, it's okay. I can do this. Picking this up is gonna be even easier with motion controls. Haha, it's my can now! Oh no, he's after me! 2. Combat stuff. This game has a lot of guns, but all the aiming and shooting has been programmed into this mod perfectly. The Magnum is like the hand of God reaching down and decimating your enemies. How's it going? I love this game! And when you fire the rocket launcher with this mod, you control its trajectory mid-air with your arm, and yet I've never missed once.
I'm a pro games player. Oh no.
The weapons that you have to hold with 2 hands are... Look, I'm a firm believer that Valve weren't just guessing when they made Alyx. They had enough people to invade a small country, so when making it, I assume they got together and said...
Monaco. We should invade Monaco.
No! I assume they said 2-handed weapons are fun in VR, but they are a little finicky. And so to me, this is why Alyx did not have 2-handed weapons. What I mean by all this is when using 2-handed weapons, you've got to get your second hand to the base of the gun and grab it every time. And I think this is an issue for me, because the combat in this game is already quite busy, and this is quite a specific action. I have a lot of words here explaining why the combat is so busy, so I'm gonna go fast here for this bit. Half-Life 2 VR has 11 different weapons to select from, and all of them are reloaded totally differently. 3 of these guns need you to hold them with both hands. There's limited ammo for most guns, so you need to be regularly changing weapons mid-fight. You often need to interact with other objects in the environment during fights, and some of the weapons require manual reloading between every shot. The point is, there's already a lot going on during combat, and throwing 2-handed weapons into this means I now need to repeatedly and always flawlessly grab a specific point on a gun that doesn't even exist while thinking about a dozen other things, and so I'm gonna miss sometimes, and when I do, I won't know until I see that the gun won't fire, and well, it's annoying, isn't it? Remember that scene in Terminator where she reloads the gun with one hand? Can we do that? 3, interacting with the world. Okay. A lot of perfect scores. A lot of people to make unreasonably angry. So, picking up objects with your hand or your gravity gun and placing them is a delight. It's perfect. We're on cloud 9. Should we go out for dinner? The general grab controls in this game make me want to jump into that hell portal from Doom, which I've been playing lately, and it's really good. The way the controls in this game are set up, for the index at least, meant I kept grabbing literally everything around me as I walked. I'd look to my left and inevitably I'd be holding... Oh, Gordon, really? You don't know where that's been? Put that down. Ugh. Seriously, I accidentally grab everything in sight. Wheels, fuel cans, shipping pallets, another wheel. At random times, I'd find I was shaking around like a mad person because I hadn't realized I was actually holding another explosive flaming barrel. Oh, fuck. See, if I'm standing near anything...
And you know, technically everything is anything, so I'm always standing near anything. And my hand even touches, whispers this part of the controller. It will activate the grab sensor and a plastic chair a full meter behind me will suddenly fly into view. And it is that sensitive. Even a faint kiss will do it. Oh. Now this really is just a small controls issue causing a pretty big problem. And I can think of a few ways to fix these issues. I do imagine the demigods who made this mod have already tried these, but let's discuss them anyway. Will do.
Oh! When playing Half-Life Alyx on the Index, if you squeeze the grab sensor, it doesn't grab faraway items. Do this. Make Half-Life VR like, try this. See, in Alyx, you actually use the trigger buttons to pull stuff over that's far away. Only when something is very, very close can you squeeze the controller to hold it. Now, this prevents accidental squeezes from ruining your day.
And oh boy, am I not even gonna touch that one. Let's move on.
A much more difficult and depressing thing for the modders to do. Again, they're working for free. They don't owe us any of this. The mod is great. Would be to add directional grabbing. In Half-Life 2 VR, your hand can grab absolutely anything within a 1 meter sphere around it, even if you aren't pointing at it. What are you looking at? See, you can put your hand out and you'll grab anything. Some pills from the right, a monitor from the left. this thing. But in Alyx, your hands have a directional line of sight to the world. That is, when you point at something, it becomes selected, and that is all you can grab.
And this is particularly useful because it prevents unwanted squeezes. What did I tell you?
This may also explain why I kept not grabbing the end of my shotgun and would instead grab this, large recycling bin. Put it down. Put the bin down! Outside of this, manipulating objects in the world is pretty perfect. The other controls are all really smooth and intuitive. Changing weapons is fun, moving and jumping works well. Seriously, this mod is great and you should all play it. It's just that this object grabbing thing really pulled me out of the game. I mean, I kept even accidentally grabbing stuff from the gravity gun. I don't want this!
I don't really want this either.
Half-Life 2 itself is genuinely pretty good. I know, who'd have thought it? To be honest with you, I first played it in 2008, about 4 years after it came out, and I was a little disappointed. Oh, yep, here come the forks again. See, by this point, I'd already played Modern Warfare 4 and Halo 3. Huge, sprawling battles, intense vehicle sections, a revolutionary new way to involve the protagonist in a first-person shooter to this. Oh no, this is not an easy transition. I was told by everyone this was and remains to be possibly the greatest game ever made, but how? How is this possible? Well, let's investigate. So the game opens up.
The right man in the wrong place can make all the difference in the world. So wake up, Mr. Jump. Wake up and smell the ashes.
The game begins with you arriving in a city controlled by evil alien overlords, and you make contact with a secret underground resistance. And quickly you realize that this game is brimming with life. Interesting characters and set pieces, locations plastered with fine details, and engaging technology to interact with. I mean, the very fate of mankind is being discussed here, and you can instead focus your time on teleporting this cactus.
You see, what people don't realize is teleporting a cactus, it's actually pretty easy. All you've got to do is focus your attention and then... What's happened to my cactus?
The game throws so much at you in its opening hour that you can barely see it all the first time through. There are so many moving parts and ideas, it's all great.
The combat, though a little dated, also ramps up perfectly as the game goes on. So you aren't just being given bigger and better weapons as you travel through. The locations and the enemies are always changing to perfectly reflect the latest weaponry you've been given. It's a little bit like how Zelda dungeons always give you the item you need for the boss just minutes before you meet them.
Okay, so I got a boomerang and yeah, very clearly it can cut ropes. That's good. Oh look, it's the boss. I wonder how I will ever beat this rope-based enemy. Yeah, sure, perfect 10s, that seems right. You start with only a melee weapon, which allows you to take on a few guards and destroy some physics objects. Then as you get a pistol and a machine gun, even larger groups of enemies show up. The zombie section gives you a shotgun, the section at the beach gives you a weapon which literally lets you storm the beaches. And by the end, you're taking on the whole citadel, which has loomed over you the entire game, and you get to use the full arsenal you've collected over the game to do so. It's all just so slick and organic. Anyway, so you meet the Resistance, get separated from the Resistance, meet the Resistance again, and get separated from the Resistance again. I didn't realize this, but over half the game's story is just you trying to actually reach the Resistance so you can finally touch Eli's tempting face. Oh no, he's being taken away again. In another life, my darling. Okay, so like I said, you get separated from the Resistance again. And rather than squeezing through this very large gap, Alyx says,
take Gordon to the Ravenholm tunnel, then circle around and try to meet up with me.
Whoa, Alyx, I've only known you for all of 5 minutes, and I only really remember one thing you've said.
Ravenholm. We don't go there anymore.
I'm getting mixed messages, lady! Speaking of which, there is a slight romance being suggested between us and Alyx.
There's nothing Gordon can't handle, with the possible exception of you.
Dad, please.
Wait, what? What was that? Eli, are you okay? You got something in your throat?
But it doesn't go anywhere for 3 obvious reasons. 1, Gordon categorically refuses to ever speak to Alyx.
Man, a few words, aren't you?
2, Alyx only walks backwards, if you if you know what I mean. No, literally, she keeps walking backwards for some reason. No one's gonna be into this, Alex. You're coming on too strong. And 3, and most importantly, Gordon obviously only has eyes for Barney.
About that beer I owed you.
So I get to Ravenholm, and I don't know what Alex was talking about. Airbnb, anyone? So in VR, this location is good. Good. You see, Ravenholm is a zombie-filled town of terrifying death, and in non-VR is probably one of the best bits of Half-Life 2. It's really atmospheric and filled with loads of interesting set pieces that I really can't show you. But in VR, this area is let down a little, mainly because if the absolutely terrifying xenomorph that occupy this town do get into your face, they don't seem to cause a reaction in VR at all. I don't get a red screen or get knocked back, and it's usually the same with all of the head crabs. So the threat I felt from these enemies was quickly reduced quite a bit. But there's also the section where you need to harness an army of sand monsters to storm a prison, and this whole section is far and away 100 times better in VR. You attack the prison by chucking this plump ball of hormones at the enemy defenses. This causes the sand monsters to completely overwhelm the combined forces, and seeing this all in 3D is nothing short of amazing. It's just really fun having this army of friendly giants gathering around you. Really, almost all of these sorts of segments in Half-Life 2 are vastly better in VR. Getting teleported, jumping on trains, the walls closing in around you, being carried around the Citadel, marveling as spaceships and striders travel about above you. It's like all these major segments in Half-Life 2 were made for VR, and the vehicle parts, well, we don't need to talk about, the vehicle parts in this game are completely unplayable in VR. There, I said it. I'm sorry, everyone, but we must have different organs or something, because mine completely rejected this part. Now, if I were to give a positive review of these parts, I would say that I didn't quite throw up. Now, there's a review that you can put on the front cover. I'd like to make it clear that this isn't a criticism of the VR mod at all, though. These driving sections have been modded into VR really well. The general movement, the controls, the shooting while driving, the jumps, the spinning in midair, the flipping upside down as you drop. Wait, a bucket? Something's coming back to me. That's it. I know how to get through these driving parts without getting sick. It's so genius, it has to work. Yeah! We're racing now, boys! Ah! Seriously, just recording these bits made me so unwell. Vehicle sections in VR are always gonna feel a bit weird as the world flies past you at 100 miles an hour while you're standing completely still. But these sections in Half-Life 2 weren't originally designed with VR in mind at all. So rather than just being straightforward driving sections, they're filled with puzzles, dead ends, open sections where you have to constantly rotate 180 degrees to work out where you're... Seriously though, if you really need to skip these sections, all you have to do is open the command console and type in this to skip the hoverboat and this to skip the buggy section. Maybe in the future this mod could include an official option to do this. You know, something along the lines of this section may cause unwanted organ removal for players. Do you wish to skip? Well, it's a bit late for that now, isn't it? Oh, hey, yep. I'm dying. Now, if you don't want to skip these vehicle sections entirely, because they are really fun, but you know you just can't handle the nausea, I do have one last sensible workaround. Oh yeah, here we go. You can't get sick when there's 2 players, right, Martha? Martha, are you okay? She's dead! So as you can tell from all of this, I now quite like Half-Life 2. The storytelling and the world that Valve have put together still hold up incredibly well. But what's so good about the VR mod specifically is it takes the combat, which for me is probably the most dated part of the experience, and adds motion controls and full 3D support to it, now making it pretty much the most advanced part of the game. This altogether really makes Half-Life 2 VR, to me at least, a somewhat timeless classic. The only major thing that I think really needs changing is the fact that I grab every piece of furniture in a room as I walk through it. And so that's Half-Life 2 VR. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. That's perfect. Oh my god, you made it this far, I can't believe it. Thank you so much for watching all of this and being a fan, and I just wanted to ask if you could join my Patreon. Join for as little as $2 to help me keep the production value of these videos sexy.
I mean, hi. I mean, good. Bye.